Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a full Season 1 recap of Eminence and Shadow! It is an hour and 20 minutes long, which means this video segment will probably be like 2.5 hours, to be honest, because of added commentary and stuff. But before delving into Season 2, but first, we are going to be not only recapping, but we are going to be talking about and analyzing Eminence and Shadow, because let me just tell you something completely honest and frank. Eminence and Shadow is not just your one-note, little, cringe Isekai overpowered main character. No. Eminence and Shadow is a god above men. Eminence and Shadow is the peak Isekai overpowered main character anime just because of how well they lean into it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into it.
You know, Akane wakes up in the morning and takes a shower.
Yeah! Sorry.
After that, she gets prepared for school.
Dude, I totally forgot this is how Eminence and Shadow started. Yeah, Eminence and Shadow starts from the perspective of someone else, just so that we can be introduced to Cid as a badass character. Dude, this show is just so wild. It's gorgeous. If you have not seen Eminence and Shadow, honest to God, you are missing out on maybe one of the wildest isekai rides of all time, and we will be covering all of it.
And a personal driver takes her to it. There, she is greeted by most students. However,
dude, I hate the popular kid at school. They're always these psycho bitches behind the scenes. They're always conniving and evil. And they're all sniper wolves. Oh, hello friends, it's me, Sniper Wolf. I'm so wholesome. Behind the scenes, probably torturing puppies or something.
Sees the one she despises, Kagenou. She greets him and he greets her back, but calls her Nishimura. She tells Kagenou that her name isn't Nishimura.
Kagenou? What is this AI voice thing?
And Kagenou apologizes, stating he was pretty good at remembering named NPC, but lately haven't got much sleep, and calls her Nishitani.
What an absolute goddamn legend. We are introduced to Cid Kagenou, the main character, from the perspective of the popular girl that every single person loves you. Every single person loves her. Every single person respects her so much. But he gets her name wrong because she is nothing but an NPC to him. Ah! Dude, Andrew Tate wishes he was Cid Kagenou.
She gets annoyed and corrects him, revealing her actual name. But Kagenou again gets it wrong and calls her Nishimura as he leaves.
She is so irrelevant to him, and it's crushing. I love him so much. I love him so much.
That she doesn't despise him for getting her name wrong, but for never looking at her, and even when his eyes are facing her direction, they seems to be looking at somewhere far off place. When Akane was in middle school,
wild. Like, he does not care. It's like no amount of riz will shake this unspoken badass.
She had to take a break from show business due to a scandal. Since then, she has been hiding behind a mask. She plays the teacher's pet so that the teachers like her, and plays the popular girl so that students like her.
I never really thought of it from this perspective, but it's so interesting that we're introduced to the story from the perspective of this girl who's completely irrelevant for the whole story, and she's also playing a character. She's playing the popular character to blend in, where Cid Kagenou is literally there playing the side character to blend in. How interesting is that we're being introduced to a role player before launching you into Cid Kagenou's world.
And is very careful to make sure no one hates her.
Like,
after school,
I cannot think of a single isekai anime with an overpowered main character that the story starts off introducing you to a side character just so that you could see from their perspective the introduction of how badass the main character is, and then you never see the side character ever again. It's wild how much thought went into the development of this story. It's not just your run-of-the-mill overpowered guy.
School, she calls her driver, but he doesn't pick up as he was attacked by some men. As he didn't came to pick her up, Akane is forced to head home walking, which is her first time doing it since the incident from middle school. On her way, she is kidnapped by the men that beat the driver.
No, not kidnapped, no. She criticized Sniper Wolf one too many times, and suddenly a mysterious crew comes out of nowhere to kidnap her.
She sees Kagenou approaching. Later, Akane wakes up tied in some warehouse. The kidnapper tells her that
I love how every isekai anime needs to have that. Every single isekai anime needs to have some girl kidnapped and tied up to be saved by the main dude. Honestly.
Of Nishino Zaibatsu shouldn't walk alone at night. The other kidnapper tells her that she just needs to stay there, and once they get the ransom, she will be freed. Outside, Kagenou observes the kidnapper and changes clothes and puts on a mask.
Oh, he has to change clothes because he has to play the badass role. Oh god, he's so funny, this guy. I love him. He has to play that badass role every single time. So it's Just bursting in with my normal school uniform would be boring.
The kidnapper wants to have some fun with Akane and notes that this should be her second.
That is not kosher. That ain't kosher, homie. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Kidnapping, and that the first time was some stalker. Kagenou then comes down from the roof window saying
he comes from the roof window just to make a spectacular entrance. Dude, look at this man. Look at this dude. I love him.
Stylish ruffian slayer. The kidnapper pulls out a gun, but Kagenou throws a piece of glass, injuring his arm and disarming
Dude, what
him.
a badass. This is before the Isekai, right? This man was Batman before he got Isekai'd.
Charges the guy and throws him to the ground and smashes his face. The other kidnapper sees that Kagenou isn't an ordinary man and states he was bored doing those kidnappings with amateurs. He notes he is former military and takes out a knife and attacks Kagenou.
I love how they had to build up these bad guys as... He's already so badass. I love it so much.
Crowbars, Kagenou manages to disarm the man, but still gets overwhelmed. He then decides to get serious and show him the potential he found in crowbars.
Crowbars, the ultimate weapon! You know, this wouldn't be an anime if the main character wasn't using some random bullshit weapon.
The man then realizes he is Balaclava Berserker, a man who has been fighting the bikers with crowbars. Kagenou notes that the bikers started wearing helmets, so he had to stop using the crowbars like Tonfa and instead use them as regular clubs. Kagenou then proceeds...
I love how he's describing his weapons and his powers. Even so, he's not even in the Isekai world yet, right? And he's like, starts off by saying, now, I have to tell you in advance, I used to use these crowbars like Tonfa, but then I realized I had to change up my strategy when you started using helmets. So now I use crowbars as... Man has to explain it.
Eats and breaks the man's leg and beats him up. Kagenou then frees Akane and tells her to be more careful next time. Akane then calls the police, and her father uses his connections to make the case not go public. Next day, Akane
connections! I love connections! My favorite part of life is how you don't actually have to suffer consequences to your actions because of your connections. Am I right, guys? Am I right, guys? God, the Sniper Wolf drama has been on my head for like forever now.
Cool. She sees Kagenou and greets him, and he greets her back, calling her Nishino. She is ready to correct him, but realizes he got her name right, and this time feels...
Oh my god! Suddenly, she is no longer an NPC because she got kidnapped. What a fucking legend. I love him so much. Cid is just... This man has so many balls.
Is looking at her. She then felt he is also living a life behind a mask. The next morning, the news report that minor Kagenou got hit by a truck and didn't survive.
No! Dude, they had to make this whole... Oh my god, it's so wild. They had this whole crazy scene, right? Of him having this whole fight just for him to die, to get reincarnated. Every time I, like, think of this, it just makes me so happy. There is no world that they needed to do this, right? In your normal main character, like... Let's say he gets into the fight with the biker gang or whatever, and he's fighting the bikers, and the bikers are so strong, and the bikers kill him and he gets transported to another world, right? Like, that would be the normal Isekai route. But this guy beats up all the bikers, and then just randomly gets killed by a truck. And you find out later that the reason why he got killed by a truck is because his maximum potential in this world wasn't high enough, so he planned to get killed by a truck to get transported to an alternate world where he could reach a higher level cap! Bro, this show is so good. It's so unserious in the best possible way.
Kagenou doesn't remember since when, but he always dreamed of being a hero.
Yeah.
He spent his days training. While at school, he was a background character. He reached a point where he can beat up some guys, but when surrounded by armed men, he doesn't stand a chance. If he becomes...
If I'm surrounded by a SWAT team with machine guns, I can't defeat them! The level cap in this world is not high enough.
The best martial artist in the world, he may be able to beat those men too, but he still won't be able to do anything about a missile. Kagenou wants to overcome those limits.
The missile! I wouldn't be able to beat a missile! No! I wouldn't beat Eminence in Shadow! How can I beat the Eminence in Shadow if I can't even beat a missile? I can't beat a missile! Oh well, gotta get transported to another world where no one would be able to defeat me. Where I can become the missile. I love him so much. I love him so much.
After being hit by a truck, Kagenou is reborn in a new world. He forms an organization, and with his squad...
Dude, look at this squad. I want a squad like this. Can we also appreciate the fact that all of them, like, wear their clothes differently? Like, she has, like, the fishnets. She just has the low top. She has the midriff. She She has the open center. It's like, this dude knows what he's doing. Dude knows what he's doing out here.
To start an operation, he also had obtained a new power, magic. Kagenou wants to be the one who operates from the shadows, showing everyone their greatness. The Eminence in Shadow.
Dude, how crazy of an introduction to a story is that? Honestly, how insane of an intro to a story. This guy, he doesn't want to save people for the sake of saving people. No. He doesn't give a fuck about saving people. He wants to be the Eminence in Shadow. Just because, try in your mind to think of the most badass character in the world. Okay? Think of the most badass character you possibly can. A character that I guess he's in the shadows and he has like a whole organization and he's overpowered and the world slowly starts to know who he is, but no one knows his identity, and he's able to do all these incredible vigilante things. This guy aimed to make himself the paradigm badass character, and he succeeds.
For reports to Cid, telling him that everything he said is true, and that she found mentions in ancient texts of what they believed is Cult of Diablos.
Which is also awesome, by the way, because this whole concept of the Cult of Diablos is something he just made up, because it would be cool if there was an evil organization ruled by a demon lord for me to defeat that no one knows about. And then, suddenly, that exists. Interesting.
After dying in a car incident, Minoru Kagenou gets reborn as the son of Baron Kagenou, an aristocrat living out in the boonies. He quickly understands the situation and feels there is magic in the air. The Kagenou family has been making dark knights who can enhance their abilities using magic. The family has big hopes for Claire Kagenou, Cid's older sister, who is quite talented. Cid grows up staying as a background character and doesn't draw any attention to him. However, at night, he comes out and fight bandits.
The Eminence in Shadow. Because having a secret identity is cool, right? Isn't having a secret identity cool? Well, guess he needs a secret identity now. I love him so much. You don't understand.
Using his slime sword, he easily kills the bandits and takes their gold and treasures. He also finds a cage with some rotting creature, realizing it's possessed and that it's magical overloaded.
Oh no, it's a magically overloaded rotted creature. That's so sad. I wonder what he'll do.
He takes interest in it and takes it home, where he shoots it with magic and do other experiments on it. After a month, he finally manages to contain the magical overload. The creature then returns to its normal form, a young, beautiful elf.
What? This man has everything. This man has everything. Everything. Oh no, it's a criminal. It's a crazy, overloaded, villainous blob of schmoobles. Well, I guess I'll find a way to cure the uncurable disease. Oh, I made a very sexy naked elf lady that will now pledge her endless loyalty to me for saving her. Wow, that worked out. This man living the good life, the good life. And what's so wild is, unlike most isekai stories, this guy, we're really getting a peek into his mind the entire time of him just trying to be as badass as possible, and everything works out in the best way to make him even more badass than he could possibly expect. This guy is so awesome. So awesome. And it's the level of almost meta commentary and level of unseriousness that he has around him the whole time that never makes you actually roll your eyes. You just want to see the next thing he does.
Wondering what to do, Cid decides to put on an act. As the elf awakens, Cid states he broke her curse that has been put on Hero's descendants. He shows her...
He had no idea that she was this cursed or anything. He didn't know any of that stuff. He just figured it out and he was like, oh crap, I have to make a cool introduction. I cured you. Oh my god, how did you know all of that? Source, I made it the fuck up.
3 heroes who defeated Diablos and tells her it's actually a true story.
And he's making all this shit up off the top of his head and it actually is all true.
And in his dying breath, the demon put a curse on them. He then explains that the cult of Diablos are plotting to revive the demon. While most people had forgotten about Diablos, Cid works in the shadows to stop the cult. He introduces himself as Shadow. He who lurks in the
He comes up with the name Shadow because it's the edgiest thing he could think of off the top of his head.
Shadow and hunts shadows. Cid asks her if she would join him, and having lost everything, she agrees and explains they need to find more Heroes' descendants and expand their organization. Cid agrees and names their organization Shadow Garden.
Yeah!
Alpha. 3 years pass, and Cid
Dude,
is
he
now...
doesn't even give them... They don't even have names. He just calls them Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta. Like, what a goddamn legend.
13 years old. He practices with his sister And while he can defeat her easily,
right, dude, this is I love this scene. Every single scene in this anime is fire. Like, I'm rewatching it right now with this recap. Is just reminding me how fire this anime is. Like, he, in the middle of the fight, just to prove to himself and the viewers that, of course, he can defeat her.
with his
right?
sister,
Like, and she's like an epic swordswoman,
And
right?
while he-
So like, well, I could do this. Like, I'll almost make these cuts faster than the eye can see.
can defeat her easily. He acts weak,
And then he's like, oh no! He has to play up that secret lifestyle of his.
and lets her defeat him. Claire is now 15 years old, and at that age, the nobles start attending the Migger Academy for Dark Knights. On the day Claire had to departure for the academy, she disappeared and her room is a mess. In those 3 years, Alpha had collected more members for their organization. Cid asks Beta where is Alpha, and Beta explains she is looking for clue to finding Claire.
And suddenly his harem continues to grow, and you learn how they join, right? Each one of these characters in his harem have like incredible backstories and why every single one of them, through incredibly intricate measures, is just indebted to Shadow for saving them. This man is such a legend. He is everything Andrew Tate wishes he was.
Beta explains that Claire is likely still alive and was kidnapped by a high-ranking member belonging to the cult of Diablos. The cult probably believes that Claire is one of the hero's descendants. Beta takes out a map and states they have few known hideouts, but don't know in which one they keep Claire. Cid makes a slime knife and throws it
Dude,
at
I
him.
love this scene also. Dude, this reminds me of how consistently fire this anime is. There is no episode that's just like dead time, right? He makes a slime knife and throws it without looking at the map. And he didn't even hit the place that he meant to hit. And the place that he actually did hit was the secret base. By accident completely.
He ends up missing the hideout, but states they will find his sister there. Beta then figures out that the cryptograms are a bluff, and there is actually a secret hideout at the location pointed by Cid.
God is on his side. God decided Cid Kagenou will be the ultimate badass. He'll throw the knife, it'll miss, and hit the thing, which will end up being the right place. Cid Kagenou is more than just your average isekai guy that's strong. He is a meta, fate-warping, world-destroying monstrosity, and he is so powerful. Man rolls 20 on the dice every single time. Man rolls 25 on 20-sided dice.
He then tells her to contact the Seven Shadows. At the hideout, Viscount Grease is holding Claire chained with magic sealing chains.
Dude, every single girl in this anime ends up chained at some point. Like, I reject your reality and substitute my own! Dude, every single episode.
He comments her father taught her good on how to fight, but Claire explains she learned all by fighting her brother.
Yeah.
Grease then asks if he healed her when she showed signs of possession, but Claire denies.
Dude, every single girl in this anime ends up kidnapped at some point. I'm just warning you in advance. They're all kidnapped, tortured, chained, tied, like every single female character. And then Cid will save all of them. Don't worry.
Stating there is no way he can heal her. Grease notes that for just in case, they need to look into her brother too. In that moment, Claire breaks one of the chains and injures her right arm to free herself, telling him she will kill him
Dude,
if they touch
she's
her
so
brother.
wholesome.
Grease then knocks
I'm so happy we're getting a whole arc with her in the second season right now, honestly.
her out, and a man comes informing him that there are intruders. Grease's men are easily cut to pieces
Easily cut to pieces! And this is where you start to realize each person in this guy's organization is literally like an S-tier fighter in this world. It's like he accidentally, by total coincidence, made a harem of Akatsuki members.
Seven Shadows. Facing them, Alpha states they are Shadow Garden, and their mission is to annihilate the cult of Diablos.
Dude, and I'm sure, I don't even need to tell you, but the hentai, bro, the Rule 34 for Eminence and Shadow.
Grease wonders how they know that name and its secrets. He attacks Alpha, but she has no troubles blocking his attacks and injures him, stating she won't kill him until they get answers from him. Seeing he is overwhelmed, Grease takes a pill that boosts his magic.
Pill.
He
Because
manages-
you see, the boss of these bad guys doesn't stand a chance against anyone in his actual harem.
push away Alpha and then breaks the floor and runs away.
Dude, this is the best part. Oh my god, every time. Look at
Alpha
this.
tells the girls there is no need to chase him as Shadow is after him, which is why they split up. Meanwhile,
Dude,
Shadow is lost.
Shadow gets lost in the
and doesn't
hallways.
know where the
He's just wandering around. He can't find
girls
anybody.
went. While walking around the tunnels, he encounters Grease.
But fate intervenes, and fate decided, wouldn't it be cool if the escape route of this bad guy is just coincidentally blocked by Shadow? And he'll be like, how did you know of this escape route? So Shadow could just say, you thought you could fool me? Bro, this man, this dude.
He attacks Shadow, who easily blocks his attack. Shadow then notes that he has more magic power than Alpha, but doesn't know how to use it. He decides to give him some lessons and blocks his attacks. As
He's
he is
teaching
done,
him. Aw,
Shadow then attacks
that's so
Grease
nice of
and
him.
starts cutting him, causing Grease to wonder if he ever was that overwhelmed in battle before. Grease
Probably
tells
not.
him no matter how strong he is, the darkness in the world is much deeper, but Shava states he will just dive deeper. Grease takes more pills and buffs himself even more, wanting to show Shadow that people are worthless, fragile, and powerless. Shadow manages to
my
block
drugs are stronger than you. And he's like, dude, you think drugs can defeat me? No one can defeat me. He's so cool. Shadow's just so freaking cool, bro.
attacks
It's
and
not
then
right.
using large amount of magic.
It's not
He
fair.
cuts down Grease. As Grease falls, he notes he was powerless against the darkness, but maybe not Shadow. The next day, Claire returns home in a bad mood. Her wounds heal overnight and she departures for the academy. Cid is eager to go
She
to
departures. No, she departured to the academy. No.
the academy himself.
I'm sorry, whenever I hear like the AI voice make little mistakes, like it just makes me so funny.
But if fine as he has 2 more years,
And I think he also missed the one line where Cid Kagenou's looking at him. Yeah, someone in chat just said, Esplite just said, because this guy is like all powered up by demon drugs. And he's looking at him and he's like, dude, I cannot be defeated by a borrowed power. And then annihilates the shit out of him. It's just glorious.
and needs to give the girls some work. However, Alpha tells him it's time they leave him, which leaves him shocked. Alpha told Cid that Cult of
Nope.
Diablos is an enormous organization that runs on a global scale, and in order to fight it,
Right?
they
This
need
organization that he made up off the top of his head that's actually real, turns out is the super threat, which is just amazing.
it to split. Cid feels that's just a nice way of they telling him that they are now grown up, want their freedom, and don't want to continue playing this fighting the cult game. When Cid turns
Which isn't actually true, because the organization that leaves is actually just making his organization even more badass than he actually thinks it is, which is just extra bonus awesome.
15, he enrolls in the same school as his sister in the royal capital of Migger Kingdom.
What kingdom? What did he call it?
Same school as his sister in the royal capital of Migger Kingdom.
Okay, alright. Cool name for a kingdom, I guess. I mean, okay.
7 months into his academy life, Cid continues to live as a background character and made friends with Skel Etel and Potato.
A potato.
Other-
Dude, these guys are losers, right? So he's out there. He says, okay, so now, in order to maintain my my background character vibe, I have to befriend absolute losers. So he picks out 2 complete losers to become their best friend, so that he can live out his cringe backstory, his cover story, like he can do his vigilante shit on the side.
Other bottom of the pile nobles like him. While heading to school, Skel and Poe remind Cid that as he scored the worst in the test, his penalty is to confess to the most sought-after girl in school and suffer
Right?
her rejection.
No!
Arriving at school,
And he's like so excited. He's like, okay, dude, sure. I'll confess to the most sought after girl in school and get rejected, because once I get rejected, no one will think I'm a main character. Everyone will be so certain that I'm a side character. There's no way they'll think I'm anything more than just some cringe, bottom of the barrel, cringe, shitbag character. I am ass. I am terrible. And once I get rejected by the hottest girl in school, everyone will believe that. And then God, staring from above, is saying, psych, bitch.
they see the girl in question, Princess Alexia Midgar.
No, stop saying Migar like that. Stop it.
However, Cid is excited about it, wanting to experience such confession as a background character.
Yes,
That
because every background character needs to get freaking rejected, right?
evening, he goes to confess to Alexia.
Dude, this scene is even better in the manga. Frick! Okay, let me actually see if I can find it. Dude, this is incredible. The truth is, I've been waiting for this all day. Confessing to a popular girl and getting completely shot down, truly an event befitting of a mob character. The night spent researching confession methods for this day. If the plan succeeds, my mob rating will soar and will be so much closer to becoming the Shadow Eminence. Behold, world, the mobbest confession ever. Princess Alexia. Look at this, look at this. Confession a la ma. Pistachio of topped off with some vibrato. Mess up the line a bit to show fatigue from reciting. Keep changing the pitch while calling her name. Hunch forward at 60 degrees, almost as if you're about to fall ahead. Make sure your knees and hands are trembling. Keep a wandering gaze, but don't look up from the ground. He's like so careful for the no time for respite. Raise your hand and stand straight. Make note of the distance between you two at this moment, 182 centimeters. Mildly distant, 182 centimeters is ideal. Then full speed ahead and bow 90 degrees. Please go out with me. Dude, like actual Sherlock Holmesing this whole thing. I nailed it. It's perfect. No need for fancy words. Make it sound like a question to express a lack of confidence. This is what a great mob character looks like. No, this is art! 90 degrees. Well done, me. Truly well done. I'm so happy you asked. I'll be in your care from now on. What? Dude, the manga is so fire. The way he calculates everything in his mind, and then God just pulls out the Uno reverse card. He's like, you know what? Fine. It works. Mission failed successfully.
Shaking and muttering, he feels he'd done a great job as a background character confession. However, to his surprise, she accepts, stating she was waiting for someone like him. The rumors—
the manga actually does that scene better. Like with all the shaking and the inner planning, and dog, how insane is that?
quickly spread, and people start to wonder who is Cid and what's so great about him. Cid—
and people are starting to pay attention to him, and he's like, oh damn it, I have to play my role as a background character so much better in order to be the evidence in shadow.
Skell and Poe wonder why she accepted, and guessed that if she accepted Cid, even Skell and Poe had a chance. Alexia then joins them at lunch, which surprises other students as that's the lower nobility section. She gets served lots of food and comments she can't eat it all. Cid then gladly starts eating her food in an attempt to make her dump him. Alexia—
right, so Cid acts like the complete asshole boyfriend, the boyfriend that literally doesn't care. Dude is 2 steps away from taking her to, what was that, Burger Shack? That whole TikTok that just went viral of this girl who was taken to Burger Shack or something, and she flipped out and started crying on TikTok that it was a terrible date. And he's out here doing that on purpose.
Heard that he is studying Royal Bush,
but she's just so impressed. She's like, oh man, he's so brave.
And wants to practice
the Cheesecake
together.
Factory. Yeah, that was it. The Cheesecake Factory. This cringe TikTokers.
Cid states he is in the lowest sections, but Alexia explains she put a good word for him, and she got him in section 1. Later—
dude, this guy is getting promoted. He's trying his hardest to fail right now, and he's just getting promoted again and again and again.
Cid joins section 1 team, where their advisor is Zinnin Griffey, the official royal fencing instructor. Cid practices with Alexia and notices that her attacks never land. She is slow and doesn't use much magic, but realizes it's because the practice is to review their strokes and counterstrokes. While he finds her technique good, he thinks it's bland. After the practice, Alexia states he has good fencing style,
dude,
but
it's
hate
so
it
cute.
as it feels—
and he's trying his hardest to lose also, and she's like, you have good style. And he's just like,
she is looking at herself. Alexia tells Zenon that she is Cid's girlfriend now, who tells her that won't change the fact that she is betrothed to him, even if it's still a public secret.
Well, that's cringe. That's cringe. I wonder what her whole plan is here.
Then realizes what is going on. After that, Cid asks Alexia that she just wanted someone to help her get out of the engagement with Zenon, and chose a low-class aristocrat whom she could easily control. As she confirms, Cid states—
dude, I love how, like, she is so smug. She is so gloriously tsundere smug. It's completely just bounces off of him. Like, it doesn't matter. She is like nothing to his goals.
Doesn't want to more attention and isn't interested in being mixed up in her problems. Alexia tells him that's a bit cold from him, as she knows he fake confessed her, since his friends easily told her everything. She tells him that if the student body learns she toyed with a young girl's heart, he will not see a peaceful day in the academy.
Dude, she threatened him in the complete wrong direction. Like, she by accident actually gave him a good threat. It's like, if it turns out that everyone learns that you toyed with my heart for no reason, no one will give you peace. And he's thinking to himself, no one will give me peace. I just want to be a background character. People can't hate me if I need to be a background character.
Alexia wants to continue the boyfriend act until Zenon gives up. Cid notes that he may not give up as it's clear Cid is out of Alexia's league. Alexia knows it, but wants to buy some time and then she will deal with it somehow.
Just waiting
Alexia
for the—
takes—
yes! Dude, this is when I started relating to Cid. When she's like, you know what? Fine. I'll just give you money. And Cid's like, yeah!
And throws a gold coin. Staring at it, Cid asks her if he looks like a type that can be brought.
A type that could be brought? How can you ruin that line? Cid calmly sits back and says, do you think I'm the type that could be bought? Well, you're correct! Dude, look at this, how he just sits there, leaning, looking at the coin on the ground. Dude, every Jewish bone in my body was shaking and trembling with anticipation at this very moment. I am allowed to make that joke! You are not!
He throws another coin. He jumps and get it with his mouth while acting like a dog. Cid notes that his parents' allowance isn't enough to carry his Eminence in shadow operation and can't let this chance slip up. Cid decides
he does not care to look like the complete loser, because this is the front, right? This isn't the real him. The real him is the Eminence in shadow. So he could look like the loser beta bottom bitch fuckboy on the front scenes. That's all good, because that just lets people even more confused as to his shadowy organization stuff underneath. That's just like me. A lot of you think that I am some degenerate guy constantly making references to Rule 34, but in actuality, it is all a disguise. This is just my public persona, so I can hide my true Eminence in shadow self who has never seen porn before in his entire life.
Continue being her boyfriend and is glad that the students focus on she having a boyfriend and not him, which lets him being the background boyfriend character. In public, Alexia is prudent, but behind the scenes, she constantly badmouths Zenon. Cid decides to not argue with her and just agrees to everything she says.
Basically, how to be a boyfriend. This man knows exactly how to be a boyfriend. You just don't argue and you just agree to everything he says. I have become the rent-a-boyfriend. Dude knows exactly. This is the boyfriend player book, guys. For those of you that want a good lesson in how to be a good boyfriend, you just watch Eminence in Shadow.
Cid wonders what's so bad about Zenon and Alexia thinks it's easy to pretend to be nice. She also judges people by flaws. Zenon doesn't have any, which is not normal for a human. While ridding the train, Alexia tells Cid
the train? Couldn't you have gotten a better AI, homie?
He has the fencing basics, but nothing more than that. Yet she can't take her eyes off him. He wonders what with her today, as her fencing was unusually aggressive and sloppy. Alexia reveals she always wanted to be as good as her sister. She didn't have what her sister had and decided to become stronger by herself.
I love how every single one of these characters actually have like a backstory and motivations and things that drive them to make themselves better people and to grow. Like, honestly, that's one of the things I really like about this anime. Despite the fact that they could have just had the whole anime just constantly focus on the badass of Shadow, and they could have just totally ignored the side cast, it's the fact that this is a fully fleshed out world with fully fleshed out characters that makes Shadow stand out so much. Like, everything in this world, from the political situations to the actual character development and backstories, actually in a vacuum fits. It's just the wild card is Cid. This man is just the wild card. How is this person just breaking the physics of this world? He's breaking the politics and the society, and that's what makes him stand out so much.
Ended up calling Alexia the fencing ordinaire. It's unfortunate that Cid's fencing is ordinary like hers. However, Cid doesn't find it unfortunate and states he likes her fencing. Alexia reveals that her sister told her the same thing after she suffered humiliating defeat at the Boshin Festival.
Damn,
but her sister couldn't understand how pathetic Alexia...
It's like when someone loses humiliatingly and it's like, but listen, I thought you were cool. Thanks, sister. You're so nice for that.
Cid explains that he isn't a great person and wouldn't care if someone kills 1 million people, but there are things that people...
He's so based. He's like, listen, I want to be honest with you. If 1 million people died, I wouldn't really bother me that much. Oh, no.
Find worthless. But to him, they are the most precious things in life, which is why he likes her fencing style. Alexia draws her sword and asks him what he means by that. Cid states
I love how she's like, her panties are so wet right now, and she's just like, she doesn't understand why.
Pissed off when people diss the things he likes. The train stops and Alexia leaves, telling Cid goodbye, making him guess this is the end of his unwanted relationship. Skell and Poe apologize to Cid for telling everything to Alexia, but wonder how far he got with her while dating her for 2 weeks.
Dude,
Cid states,
these two guys are such losers. They're always everywhere.
He didn't get anywhere, which annoys them as they state they would have went all the way. At the school gate, Zenon and 2 other men stop Cid and his friends. Zenon states Cid should know that Alexia didn't return to her dorm last night, and they are investigating it as a potential kidnapping. Since Cid was the last person seen with her, he is their first suspect, as he sees...
Damn, it's always... Why you always gotta do Cid like that? I love how he's trying so hard to be the side character, but they accidentally make him the main character, and then he uses that as an excuse to be the side character. Like, they torture information out of him, and he starts crying like a bitch, and he's like, yes, only a real side character would cry like a bitch this much. And inside, he's like, yes, it's perfect. And on the outside, he's like, oh, no, oh!
More nights, Cid surrenders and realizes he is in big trouble. Alexia wakes up chained in a cell.
Dude, what did I tell you? What did I tell you, homie? Every single female character in this show, they somehow end up chained to somewhere. Dude, the writers knew that they were feeding the Rule 34 economy, and they just kept going for it.
She sees a humanoid monster in the next cell. A man then shows up, excited to get royal blood. She wonders why her blood, and the man states it's demon blood, and he will resurrect the demon. Meanwhile, Cid is being beaten and interrogated about the princess location.
Oh,
he gets excited as he finds this such a classic minor character interrogation.
Dude, he's like, oh, my mind is broken. And then on the inside, he's like, this is perfect. Only a real loser would get interrogated like this.
And decided to act properly, so they don't outshine him.
I love him so much, and he's crying. He's like, no, no. And then on the inside, he's like, perfect. Only a real bitch would cry this way.
Starts yelling and crying that he doesn't know anything. Zenon meets with Iris and states he feels responsible for Alexia's kidnapping. Iris wonders if Cid could have really kidnapped her. Zenon states there are evidence, but with his skill level, he shouldn't have been able to kidnap Alexia, and he believes him. Since it's been 5 days, Iris decides to release him, but orders that they keep track of him. After Cid is released, he goes home. Alpha shows up as well.
After Cid is released, he goes home, only to find the harem that he has been assembling, that has been gathering strength in the shadows, is still here, and they are stronger than ever. They are awesome and badass, and they will never, ever leave his side, because they fucking love this guy for some reason.
Explains that their organization is growing, and they have been gaining more information on the cult. Cid notes to himself that the girls are visiting him time to time, and is sure that they are living normal lives, but is happy that they still play his game and visit him. Alpha explains that Alexia
I'm sure they live normal lives, meanwhile they're like actually gathering intel and creating the strongest counter-political organization in the history of this entire culture. I'm happy they're living normal lives.
Kidnapped by the cult due to her blood, and they are investigating it. She asks him if he wants her to dispose of those that interrogated him, but Cid explains they were just doing their job. Before leaving, Alpha also tells him that Delta is here, and she has been...
that freaking outfit, they just look so good. Every single one of these outfits just looks so freaking good, bro. This show's great. Like, Eminence and Shadow, I think, got a bad rap. It got a bad rap as the show that's just a comedy and it's goofy for the sake of goofy. And no one respects just the actual glory of this show. The greatness. Like, yes, it is goofy. Yes, it is funny, but it's also so much more than that.
Cid sets his Eminence in Shadow.
Dude, I love this. All the money that he got by simping for the girl, he used to create himself a cool room so that when he calls his minions, they see him in a cool room.
Where he takes out an expensive wine, masterpiece paintings, antique lamp, etc., and then drinks wine while waiting.
He just does this for the sake of being able to drink wine. He does this for this shot. He literally did all this for all that money just for this shot of him drinking wine in his outfit on a throne. And he never uses the room again. Fucking legend.
A bit later, Beta shows up. He tells her the time has come. Beta gets excited and explains that they are ready, and under Alpha's orders, they have gathered all available personnel in the capital, 114 people, a number which surprises Cid.
It's like he spends like $100,000 for like the wine and the paintings and the throne and everything just so it's the background of his Zoom like call for like 20 minutes, and then he never uses it again.
Beta explains that they plan to launch...
Dude, I'm waiting for this. The piano scene is later. That piano scene, brother, it's glorious.
Simultaneous attacks on all sect hideouts. As she explains the girl roles, Cid stops her, giving her a letter and stating that he will be taking Delta's spot. Cid leaves his place.
And they're so excited. The Eminence in Shadow, he's finally revealing himself to the world. They've all been waiting for this day forever because he thinks that they aren't as like devoted to him as they actually are. All of their lives purely revolve around him. He doesn't know that. They're just like people, but they all think so.
And the two knights that interrogated him wait for him and throw him Alexia's boot to frame him and kill him. Cid then drops the bodies of the two men that were following him and then proceeds and kills the two knights.
What a fucking legend. They throw a boot at him and they're like, oh, looks like you have her boot. That's evidence. We will kill you now. And he's like, all right, dude. No one's watching. It's shadow time.
The Shadow Garden then start their attack. The doctor rushes to Alexia, stating that they are coming. Alexia tries to tell him that the knights don't kill
They are coming, and so are we.
without a reason, but the man isn't afraid of the knights. He notes that he made a prototype and it should work even on a failed result as the one next to Alexia's room. As he injects the disfigured creature, it becomes much larger and stronger and kills the man. To Alexia's
I feel like this always happens. It's like killing this. The scientist isn't a strong fighter, so it would be boring to actually see him in a fight, right? So we'll just have him killed by his creation, because why not?
surprise, the monster then cuts her chains and frees her. While Alexia looks for an exit, he encounters Xenon,
She encounters Xenon. Oh, god damn it.
explains that this is his facility and he was funding the doctor.
Dude, I love just like the look of
He encounters
torment that they
Xenon,
put in
who
these. Like, there's so many, like, really well-done character expressions. This just to show you the darkness of this world. And then Shadow shows up.
Explains that this is his facility and he was funding the doctor. She gets happy as she always felt he isn't right in the head. Xenon explains that with her blood and his research, he will be guaranteed the 12th seat in the Knights of the Rounds, the highest
Building up. Oh, the 12 best knights, sure.
ranking knights in the order. Alexia attacks him, but she is no match for Xenon, who easily disarms her. Cid then comes and introduces himself as
Yo! This is, dude, dude, you're not ready. You're not ready. If you have not seen this yet, and you're for some reason still watching this video just because you want to see this whole show and jump on board for season 2. Holy crap. Dude, I am telling you, I'm not sure you want to see this next scene. You might want to see this next scene in the official one because you are about to see one of the coolest anime fights ever. Calling it a fight is overdoing it, but...
As Shadow introduces himself, Xenon recognizes him as the one that has been going after the cult, but notes he is a coward as he has been targeting only bases without the cult's core members. However,
Right? Because somehow that Shadow, you must be the one going after us. And he's like, well, I wasn't going after you. It's like, turns out, it turns out all of my Shadow Garden harem people have been killing out all your people by total accident. All right, cool.
he is now facing
Love
a
that.
core member and the future 12th seat of Rounds, Xenon. As Xenon attacks Shadow, he moves behind him, placing himself between Xenon and Alexia.
What a joke,
and
the riz on this man.
asking him where is this core member he spoke of. The monster had escaped above ground. After evacuating the citizens, the knight face it, but their attacks are ineffective as the monster just heals. Iris comes and inflicts a more serious wound on the
I love
monster.
that they do this, because Iris is like basically the strongest swordswoman, or like in the top 2 swordswomen in the entire land, or swordsman also. Like, she's just incredibly strong. She is hyped up as like the strongest fighter in the country, okay? This is the strongest fighter in the country going against this regenerating demon
But it
guy.
heals that too. She decides to get more serious and cuts the monster arm. However, the monster easily regenerates it. Seeing that, Iris decides to cut it to small pieces so that it won't be able to regenerate. After inflicting several wounds, Alpha comes and states she is just making her suffer.
Bro, this is insane. You think just Shadow is overpowered.
States she knows the monster pain and suffering and she will put an end to it. Alpha then attacks the monster, curing it and returning it to her original human form, a young girl. Alpha sees a pendant on her.
Bro, in one shot. In one shot. Sorry, Princess Alexia, whatever you know, that's the sister. I don't know, whatever your name is. Sorry, swordswoman lady, best princess in the entire goddamn freaking country. Woman L. It's time for a real W woman to show up. Alpha, one shots. This just goes to show you the level of threat that Shadow Garden is actually posing here. Shadow Garden isn't just some organization of some strong people. No, the random members of Shadow Garden are each as strong as the absolute strongest swordsman in the land.
Her, revealing that she is Milia, Grease's daughter. Alpha then tells Iris that they are Shadow Garden and she should just stay back and enjoy the show as they deal with this situation. Xena decides to get more serious and uses more magical power, but is still easily overwhelmed by
Dude,
Shadow.
I love this. Did you see that? Okay, all right, we have to show you again. We have to show you again.
Xena decides to get more serious and uses more
he's
magical
so serious. Look at all the power he's using.
power,
Oh no,
but is still
what's Shadow gonna do? Shadow
easily
walks.
overwhelmed.
Look at this. He's just walked. I can't. I'm sorry. You have to see it. Look, guys. You are not. Look at what is about to happen. I want to make sure that you're aware.
by
He
Shadow.
walks past him and just elbows him in the neck. Did you see what just happened? Did you see what just happened? He just walked past him and elbowed him in the neck. This guy using all this epic power with the royal blood and all that shit. Did you see? He just simply
Xenon gets angry and
annihilated him.
continues to attack Shadow, who easily blocks his attacks. Seeing the fight, Alexia is amazed by Shadow and sees that at its core, his swordplay is ordinary. It's like her ideal swordplay she dreamed when she was young. However, she could never...
Dude rizzes these people. He can get people's panties wetter than a goddamn hot spring. He freaking annihilates
became
them.
stronger or equal equally strong to her sister. Shadow slashes Xenon, who gets angry and asks him why is he hiding his identity if he is that strong. Shadow states they are Shadow Garden and they hunt in the shadows, which is
they hunt the shadows. From the shadows. Dude, I am fanboying so hard. Dude, he's the ultimate. I love edgelords in general. This guy is peak edgelord.
sole purpose of their existence. Annoyed, Zeman takes out some red pills and
Oh! Seaman is about to take some red pills.
Explains that by taking them, he will awaken a new nature beyond human limitations, and if an ordinary person takes them, he will be overwhelmed by their tremendous power and die. Xenon then takes the pills and transforms, stating he is the third awakened. Having far more destructive power than before, Zeman attacks Shadow, however, he easily blocks him once again.
It's like Shadow... it's not even a challenge. It's such a joke. What a joke. Man got all red-pilled and still has no chance.
Overwhelms Zeman. He tells him that
punches him.
There is no road to all-mightness if you use borrowed power. He then sets a magic circle around Xenon. There once was a man who wanted to withstand a nuclear bomb. The man then developed his muscles, honed his mind, perfected his skills. However, there were still heights he could not attain.
Right? Because in the real world, as strong as you become, a nuke will still annihilate you.
Shadow realized that if he don't want to be vaporized by a nuclear bomb, he needs to become nuclear himself.
In order to defeat a nuclear bomb, you must become a nuclear bomb. That's the best you can do. No claim to be almighty. I simply have to become nuclear myself. Dog, dude, are you ready? Are you ready to witness greatness? Are you ready to witness utter greatness? I am atomic. Dude, I just came in my pants. I just came in my pants. Dog. Do you see what this guy... Oh, yeah. Just watch the... I remember Alpha says just watch the show. Yeah. Just watch the show. I feel overwhelmed by this might. Holy... Dude did not even need to do that. Here, one more time, baby. One more time. I have to hear the words. The ultimate ASMR. This is the no hands orgasm ASMR that everyone's talking about. I am atomic. Oh, it's glorious every time. Sorry, had to fanboy a little bit.
Xenon thinks he is crazy and tries slashing him, but his sword breaks as it hits Shadow. Shadow then tells him to witness his almightness as he uses his almighty power. He then chants, "I am atomic." A huge explosion then occurs, leaving a large crater in the middle of the city. Alexia finds herself unharmed in the middle of the crater.
Of course
he picks a sword and starts practicing her fencing. Iris sees her and comes down, hugging her and states she is glad that she is alive. Sometime after that, Alexia returns to school and she tells...
Season 2, Episode 3. Bro, subscribe, leave likes. I am gonna go through Season 2 with you guys if I want to.
Cid of what happened. She thanks him for liking her fencing and tells him that she also finally learned to like it. They were pretending to be a couple, but now Xenon is dead. Alexia wonders if Cid wants to keep their relationship going, but Cid refuses.
What a legend! She's like, now that Cid is dead and I don't really need you anymore to like fake relationship, but like, would you want to actually like really have a relationship with me? Dude is just now instantly
Alexia wonders if Cid wants to keep their relationship going, but Cid refuses.
Nope. What a freaking legend. He's just like, dude, ain't no chance in hell, homie.
That shocks Alexia, who then attacks him. The spot they talk get known as people found large amount of blood there, but no bodies or missing people were found or reported. As a result, in time the case got known as one of the school's 7 mysteries, the bodiless murder. The Shadow Garden girls are excited
so much. Show's so awesome.
About how powerful Shadow is and how all of their enemies will one day vanish from his light, just like Xenon. They have a report from Zeta, who found the target and will be investigating. Ida's research is also going smoothly. However, they have one issue. Someone has been pretending to be from Shadow Garden and delivering justice. They're covering their tracks well.
There's a vigilante. Aside from us, we will not stand for other people being vigilantes. They will take our spotlight, and that is not okay.
Gamma is sure they will catch them. Iris now knows about the cult in Shadow Garden. She knows that Xenon was a adherent of the cult, and because of that, she doesn't trust the Knight's Order. She trusts Glenn and Marco, and decides to form a new investigation team with them. Iris reveals they have found an item, but need to find someone who can decipher its functions. Meanwhile, while reading and carrying...
Yeah, this arc might be the weakest arc in the first season of Eminence in Shadow. It's not bad, but it is probably my least favorite of the arcs.
Books, Sherry Barnett bumps into Cid, who is covered in blood from Alexia's attack. Skell and Poe wonder how things went with Alexia, and if Cid got at least a kiss. However, Cid tells them that they broke up and haven't done anything. Disappointed, Skell tells him that he knows
these characters, and like, they tried to make them as like annoying loser high school virgin characters as possible, and they absolutely nailed it.
That sell all kinds of good stuff, including something called chocolate, which they can use to give to girls and win them. As Skell and Poe are too excited, Cid accepts as he is
I think he meant to say win them over. I don't think he meant to say I will give this to women and I will win them. I will defeat the women.
Also curious to see what this world calls chocolate. Iris shows an artifact they found in the hideout of the cult. However, as they can't decipher it, she asks Sherry Barnett, the most brilliant mind in the kingdom, if she can decipher it. Her father, Lutheran, encourages Sherry to do it. Sherry accepts and Iris decides to assign the Crimson Order to keep watch on them. Lutheran hears that's the new Night Order that Iris formed, and Iris confirms, and that it's a small order.
Right? A small order of elite knights that will totally be helpful in the future.
But it may
not merely exist as pawns to prove exactly how much more badass Shadow is. True.
By people she trusts. Alexia also wishes to help, and Iris accepts. Cid, Skell, and Poe go to the store, but the line is so big that they have to wait 80 minutes for their turns. Poe is worried as that means they will head back at dark, and he heard there was a killer going around at night. While waiting, a worker from the store asks Cid if he can come with her and answer some survey. As Cid
I love random survey people.
Cid enters the store, he feels it's like a department store from his old world. Cid then sees Gamma next to the throne and
oh my god, and he's like, wait a second, I know how this is happening.
Figures at her store. She confirms and states she recreated it from the wisdom Cid shared with them.
Do you understand how insane they're just making this? So the ultimate place in this world, this department store with all sorts of chocolate and makeup and stuff, the way to just win women in this fantasy world is you just go to this store. And this store has been created by a harem member that was so rizzed by Cid and his stories of his past life that she recreated the ultimate woman rizzing department store. Every woman rizzed through this department store is inadvertently also rizzed by Shadow himself. Like, holy crap, bro. This... What an actual god.
Cid recalls telling the girls random stuff and notes that Gamma was the smartest among the girls, but also lacks athleticism. In that moment, Gamma ends up falling the stairs.
Oh no, I accidentally fell and my shirt fell off. Typical women, am I right, guys?
Gamma invites Cid to sit on the throne, and as he sits, he feels like a king. He congratulates her and creates something like fireworks as her reward, which excites her as
she's like a dog, like a puppy. He's just like, oh, you have done well by creating this store and my throne. Now, I will make fireworks as your reward. And she's just like, a reward from master. And she's all excited.
As the light reminds her on the light he used to save her. Cid,
right? Because every single one of them, once again, you have to remember, had this incredibly terrible backstory, terrifying, traumatizing stuff, rescued by Cid, undying loyalty.
Guesses she's making money, and Gamma confirms, stating she has several franchises around the cities, and that they even use mail orders for remote areas.
You don't understand what's going on here. This man, all he did is walk around, accidentally save a bunch of women. These women start an organization that is a world-threatening superpower. So strong that not only do they have copycats, but they're feared throughout the world. Shadow Garden. Also, every single person in the group is also doing something else. Like, they are the forefront of science. They have an infinite money hack because one of them opened up all these franchises that they're purely using to give money to Shadow Garden. It's infinite money. It's infinite riz, infinite technology, infinite supply of overpowered women on his side. This man accidentally created the ultimate harem.
She shows him she has 1 million zeni as immediate disposal. Hearing that, Cid is shocked. Gamma guesses Cid game due to the incidents and the killer who states he is from Shadow Garden. They are investigating him already and promises Cid that they will put an end to his deeds. Cid had no idea, but decides to play along and states he has some idea who it may be as he recalls his incident with Alexia.
What a legend. What an actual legend, bro. He doesn't have any idea what's going on, but he has to look cool, so he says to her, yes, I already have some idea of what's going on.
Gamma introduces their newest member of the Numbers, and explains that Alpha acknowledged her skill. Cid tells her that he will call her if he needs her. He then tells Gamma that he wants to purchase 3 chocolate of the cheapest, but Gamma states she will give him chocolate for free from the highest quality. Cid gets happy, and while laughing with Gamma, he also steals 1 coin. Cid and his friends then rush heading home. Cid guesses that Alexia went crazy and had started killing people. Hearing some
What a terrible thought. This, I'm telling you, Andrew Tate probably watched this anime and cried.
he stops and tells his friends that he needs to poop right away and tells them to go before they see him shit himself. Skell and Poe believe that is very manly and states they won't forget him and will never tell anyone about it. Cid then goes in the back alley where he heard Alexia fighting.
The back alley! The back alley, the back alley.
But is surprised to see her fighting some men who claim to be from Shadow Garden. They manage to injure her, but Cid shows up as Shadow and kills
Dude,
one
I
of
love how he was watching, waiting for them to injure her so he could be a better hero when he saves her. Man is actually demented, not gonna lie.
the men and tells the others that they will also pay for impersonating Shadow Garden. The men run and Alexia asks Shadow why is he fighting, but he tells her to stay out of it. Shadow follows the men and kills
Stay out of it, woman! Woman, why would you need to know?
one of them. Nu then shows up and congratulates Shadow on finding them that fast and requests that he leaves the rest to her, and she will get information from the remaining man. Shadow agrees and leaves. Nu then cuts the man's arm, disarming him, stating she isn't as forgiving as Shadow. Elsewhere,
They just have to keep making Shadow even cooler. It's like, let me get the information out of him. No problem, Moo. And then she just goes, starts cutting his body parts off.
a man informs a knight that he lost contact to the puppet and the two other men. The knight states it's fine as they located the item they need
looks
and their
badass.
priority is retrieving it. Alexia
They have
tells
such great
Iris
character designs in this show, honestly. The character designs are just fire.
that the killer was impersonating Shadow Garden. Alexia adds that Shadow is fighting the cult, and Iris hopes that they will learn something more when the artifact gets deciphered. Alexia then asks her who she thinks is the real enemy, Shadow Garden or the cult. Iris states it's both and that she won't allow
Right,
anyone
it's the cult because the cult wants to destroy the world, and it's Shadow Garden because they're vigilantes, and vigilantes cannot rule this city.
to wreak havoc in the kingdom. The next day on the train for school, rumors spread that Cid had shit his pants. Skell and Poe are nervous and ask Cid if he
Right, the rumors that he shit his pants. He spreads rumors to make himself look more like a loser so he could be a better background character. Dude, I love his dedication to this bit. It's insane.
got the chocolate from yesterday.
And the funniest part is, he's so dedicated to this bit, and just because he thinks it would be cool to live a double life, not because he actually needs it.
At school, Skell gives chocolate to an upper-class woman, but the person she's engaged shows up and catches Skell and wants to have a chat with him. Poe states he won't follow Skell's footsteps, and that he learned all about the girl he plans on giving chocolate. As he
that's
approaches
good.
her, she recognizes
That's not
him
weird.
as her stalker and yells. Cid decides to
He's a stalker. No, he pulled the sniper wolf. No.
give his chocolate to the first girl he sees and be over with his background character moment.
Right,
Sherry
'cause
then
you have to give it to somebody. Oh, God, I guess I'll just give it to her.
sits next to him and he gives her the chocolate and leaves. Sherry recognizes Cid from the other day. In her room, she wonders what is the chocolate. Her father then
What is the chocolate?
comes in and recognizes it's chocolate and explains it's been popular lately. Sherry tells him that a boy gave it to her and her father guesses it's a present and it must have been love at first sight. He wonders what she will tell him as he must be waiting for an
Man rizzed her so hard, he sent her body into trembles by accident.
answer. He also tells her that study and research is important, but she also needs to learn on how to interact with others. He starts to cot, but states he has been feeling better lately and is lucky to have such a good daughter. Sherry states she is the lucky one as he adopted her.
Oh
Sher-
man, I love this relationship. I'm sure it'll last and be just this wholesome as it keeps going. I'm sure there isn't some crazy foreshadowing that this really wholesome relationship might not end up as cute and wholesome as you think it is right now.
Sherry thinks of what her father
Crazy.
told her, that the love at first sight. She finally decides to try the chocolate and finds it really sweet. Nu disguises as a student and approaches Cid at school. She tells him that the man they caught had a powerful brainwashing that broke his mind and wasn't able to obtain any information from him. While Nu explains things, Cid is distracted and is thinking how Skell ended up signing him for a fencing tournament. Nu explains that they confirmed the
Dude, like, on the one hand, I was signed up for a fencing tournament, so now I have to make believe I suck so people don't think I'm awesome. And at the other hand, he's trying to stop a demon organization from taking over the world and massacring all of humankind. And these things are of equal importance to him. He's just so above everyone else that these things are completely of equal importance. The narrator AI keeps changing. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not going to make believe I understand why they use different AIs for different episodes.
presence of a named first child in the royal capital, Rex, the game of betrayal. Nu says that first child are those who maintain their sense of self despite being one of the children. Cid states he needs some time to think and leaves. At the tournament, Claire easily wins her fight. Next up is the student council president Rose Oriana versus Cid. He
Oh,
decides
she's... Dude, she's such a cool character also. Dude, honestly, all the characters in the show are so good. Like, normally when I watch an Isekai show with an overpowered main character and he gets a harem, like in that typical shiz, the background characters all blend in one to the other. They're all basically the same, with slight variations on a theme. Like, they'll either have different bust sizes or they'll be from different species. But, like, that's essentially the differentiation between them. These characters are all so well thought out and drawn out and have such interesting character arcs. It's just completely rendered meaningless by the fact that, well, this guy is so awesome.
To show his 48 techniques he mastered. As their fight starts, Cid lets himself get hit and coughs fake blood, showing his secret background character techniques: spinning drill fall, bloody tornado, an unsightly defeat in the first round at the hands of an indisputable champion. The judge is about to give the win to Oriana, but Cid stops him. He continues to cause fake—
I love him so much. He has to go the extra mile. Like, he uses his fake blood technique to make it look like he's faking blood everywhere as he goes flying. But he's like, no, I have to make myself look like an even bigger loser than you thought. You think I'm just a loser one time, you fool. I will fake blood all over. I will show off all of my background character techniques to prove without a shadow of a doubt how pathetic I am.
Fake blood, but wish to continue as he has 47 other techniques to show off. Cid continues to get one-shotted, but stands after each hit one.
Every time they annihilate him, he has different techniques of loserness to show off. What a fucking hero.
Fight to continue. Oriana is surprised by his determination and decides to get serious. As she attacks, the judge jumps in and saves Cid, announcing the end of the fight and Oriana as winner. The judge states it's too dangerous for Cid to continue as he lost a lot of blood. Cid protests and wants to continue as he still has 33—
And the thing is, him doing all this accidentally rizzed the strongest swordswoman in the school because he dodged all the techniques and had the heart to continue. So his showing off how much of a loser he was accidentally rizzed the fuck out of her, brother.
Go off, but he is carried out. After the fight, Cid hopes he will still get a chance to show the remaining of his techniques. He is then approached by Sherry, who explains she watched his fight and he was incredible as—
Right, now she's super in love with him because he gave her chocolate. Dude, and he gives her chocolate, her panties are more moist than critical. It's crazy out here,
he kept
brother.
standing up. She then gives him cookies she baked as thanks and suggests they can start as friends. Cid isn't sure why she gave him cookies and what she means by starting as friends, but he accepts. She tells her father that they are going to be friends and he joins them. Cid recognizes him as an important person and notes that if he wishes to remain obscure as possible, he shouldn't be having a contact with him.
He's like, oh, god damn it, I was just introduced to someone important. People are going to see me with someone important, they're going to think I'm important. If they're going to think I'm important, then they're going to think I'm a background character. Oh my god, everything has failed.
After some small talk, he uses his injuries as an excuse to leave. Sherry is thinking about Cid and wonders if she should visit him since they are friends. She decides to go and talk with Alexia, who guesses that she is there to talk about the artifact, but Sherry denies it. Nervous, Sherry says she heard that Alexia is in a relationship with Cid and wonders if it's true. Alexia states they broke up, and in reality they weren't dating, but pretending to be a couple for specific reasons. Sherry gets
And she's like, oh good, then it will be no problem when I date him. And they have a lover's quarrel of people that he doesn't like. Literal accidental riz, just turning women against each other, turning them into their carnal beings. Oh, I love how the show writes female characters.
happy to hear that and states she became friends with Cid the other day. She wasn't able to concentrate on her research, but now it's glad to learn they aren't together. Sherry leaves happy, but Alexia gets frustrated. After 5 days,
I wonder why.
Cid returns to school and feels that everyone is a bit nicer to him than usual. Oriana then comes to explain the election to fill the vacancy on the student council. At the same time, a masked knight from the cult decides to start their plan.
What a perfect time.
He creates a barrier around the school, but seemingly only Cid notices it. Alexia returns to school, but sees the gate is closed and that Guard is dead. Cid notices he can't use his magic.
Right? In this barrier, you can't use magic. And I love how even without magic, Cid is not even at all scared of this terrorist that broke into the school.
And then come in the room claiming to be from Shadow Garden and explaining that they are taking over the academy. Oriana decides to fight them, but realizes she can't use magic. The fake Shadow Garden members are able to use magic, and one of them easily breaks Oriana's sword. He then attempts to kill her, but
You're ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the ultimate side character technique?
Rushes in and pushes her away while taking the hit.
He takes the hit with no magic, right? Because right now, there is no even shadow of doubt that this guy is a side character. He can't even use magic right now, so it's not like he could trick you. No, he literally took a body shot. Man literally got ripped open.
And then falls to the ground
in a pool of blood. He has no magic. And he's doing it anyway because now there is no way you'll think that I'm a main character.
Covered in blood. Rose wonders why he gave his life away to save her, but then guesses he loved her, which explains why he was motivated to keep standing when he fought her and why he gave his life. The
Accidental Riz takes another victim.
terrorists then move all the students to the auditorium. Cid starts hitting his heart, and as it starts beating again, he wakes up. He
Dude stops his own heart. Look at this. Look at this.
to the auditorium. Cid
Right? And this way, everyone's collected in
starts
the
hitting his
auditorium.
heart, and as it starts
And he triggered it with like these goo strings, like just in case I ever get stabbed and my heart stops beating, I would be able to restart it myself. A perfect failsafe that I've activated totally because it's the thing to do.
beating again, he wakes up. He reveals it was his secret technique where he stops his heart for 10 minutes but maintains regular blood flow to his brain. His magic is still obstructed, but he can use it if he narrows it to threads. Rex enters Sherry's room. He states he is
What a badass. Are the strings not magical? Yeah, because they're not a lot of magic. He can use tiny amounts of magic, so it just turns into really thin threads. That's how he controls it.
from Shadow Garden, but then wonders if it was Shadow Guardian. He explains his job is to retrieve the artifact, and once he is done, he is allowed to wreak as much havoc as he wants. Rex then
Let's
sees
go.
the artifact in Sherry's hands, but as he attacks her, Glenn stops him.
Nice
Rex is
try.
impressed.
You thought you could defeat Glenn? With a name that cool, Glenn will never be beaten.
He managed to do it without magic, and Rex explains it's easy when his opponent is weaker. While Glenn and Marco keep the terrorists busy, they let Sherry run away. Cid observes the movement of the terrorists and is quite excited about the whole situation. He is annoyed they were all black as they aren't doing it properly. He decides to show up at night and snipes quite a few of them so that he makes his grand appearances easier. He notices a girl
Dude, look at
up
this.
at
Look
night
at
and
this.
snipes quite a
Dude, he's shooting like little rubber
annoyed
band
they were all
slime
black
bullets.
as they
Look at
aren't
this.
doing it
Look
properly.
at this.
He decides to show up at night and snipe
Bro, what is going on?
quite a few of them
Hey, yes, I will use my pocket pussy to destroy them.
so that he makes his
And look how he jumps off. He jumps off with his hands in his pockets for no reason. Just to be cooler.
grand appearances easier.
No one's watching him. Why is he doing it? It's for us, guys. It is for us.
He notices a girl running and almost begging to be captured and realizes she is Sherry. While she moves around, Cid ends up taking out several terrorists, saving her from being
Dude, he's just shadow behind the
or
scenes.
detected. Sherry ends
Annihilating
up
all of the terrorists.
the stairs and falls, but Cid captures her. He has several things to tell her, but first asks her to remove her noisy slippers. Before reaching her father's room, Cid ends up taking out a few more
There's just a whole bunch of them hanging there.
terrorists. Sherry finds the book she was looking for and explains that the artifact Eye of Avaris is the one that blocks their magic. The artifact absorbs and stores the magic from any user, but it can be programmed to ignore some magical frequencies. Sherry guesses it can absorb magical traces that are too small to detect or powerful spells that exceed its capacity. However, there isn't a human capable of doing the second. Once the
There isn't a human capable of doing a spell that powerful. Interesting. Okay.
artifact had absorbed all it could absorb, it will release all the stored energy at once. Since all the students are in the auditorium, Sherry guesses that the artifact is somewhere nearby, and if it releases all the energy, it will blow up and kill all in the auditorium.
That
Because
sucks.
of that, Sherry states her father
What a
didn't publish his
conundrum.
findings and gave the artifact to the government for safekeeping. Sherry also explains that the artifact she was researching is used to control the Eye of Varys and store the energy for a long term.
What a coincidence! This artifact that I didn't know what it did and I just figured out what it did, it's used to counteract a different artifact, which coincidentally is exactly the artifact that they are using to seal our magic. There's no way!
Sherry plans on using the basements and reach the auditorium. Once she is close to the Eye of Avaris, she will activate this artifact and stop the Eye of Avaris from exploding. However, she left all of her
Very
tools
hot.
needed to fine-tune this artifact in her room. Cid then states he will get them for her and leaves her.
Don't
Rex
you worry.
reports
In fact, now that I'm not around you, I can actually do badass things without needing to hide them.
the cult knight that some of their men had been taken out by someone skilled in guesses that Shadow Garden is here. As Rex still haven't obtained the artifact, the cult knight threatens him to go and find it or he will kill him. The cult knight notes that once his ambitions are realized, he will be reinstated in the Knights of Rounds.
Notice this is the same exact plot as the previous arc, right? This guy, he also just wants to be part of this legendary Knights of Rounds. And, Shadow will not let that happen, unfortunately for him. His
Rex
dreams are about to die.
is walking with 4 men, but in an instant, he ends up loosing them, as Cid then hits him before Rex
Look
manages
how dude! Every time! It's not fair that Cid is so cool.
4 men, but in an instant,
So these two guys get yoinked instantly and they just die.
he ends up loosing
And he's like,
them.
what is going
As
on?
Cid then
Sid, he could have beaten him up,
And
but he
hits
just
him.
wanted to get... Ah!
him before Rex manages to react.
It's too good. It's just too good. It's so good.
Thinking Cid is fast due to an artifact, Rex creates a net around himself, stating that no matter how fast Cid is, the moment he gets caught in his net, he will know. He then turns around and sees that Cid is already inside his net.
Fucking Lucy. This net is so powerful. Anytime you enter my net, I will immediately know and be able to respond. Meanwhile, Cid already in the net listening to the entire conversation.
Cid proceeds attacking Rex and eventually takes him in a classroom with each seat taken by a dead terrorist. As Cid attacks Rex...
Holy shit. Cid just wanted to traumatize him a little extra. So he had an entire room filled with the corpses of dead terrorists inside the rooms, each one by a different desk. Just so that when he sees it, he can be like, what kind of madmen set these people up here like this?
Rex again. He notes that Rex is awesome. Meanwhile, Nu finds the dead body of Glenn and Marco, who is still alive but knocked out. A moment later, Cid arrives and starts looking for Sherry's tools. Nu explains that Marco was her betrothed. She then explains that Shadow Garden had infiltrated the academy and are awaiting orders. However, she explains that...
Of course, all of their... Let me just remind you, random fact. Do you remember in the beginning when he clothed Alpha with his shadow goop, right? All their clothes are made out of shadow magic. So the magic barrier is destroying the clothes. Which makes sense to me, honestly. I didn't question.
Not being able to use magic is a risk, and only the 7 Shadows can do it. Currently, only Gamma is in the capital, but this type of mission isn't her fort. Even Nu herself
can
only use about half of her power right now. As she continues her report, Cid asks her to help him find some items. After obtaining all the tools, Cid explains he needed them to fine-tune an artifact and that Eye of Avaris is absorbing their magic. Once they fine-tune the other artifact, they can neutralize the Eve of Avaris.
Yeah!
Without magic, Iris is unable to do anything and is forced to stay outside the academy. Meanwhile, Sherry fine-tunes the artifact and is ready to head into the tunnels.
It's time. It's time to use your brain for our purpose. Because, unfortunately, women, when it comes to every other thing in the show, you do not have much of a leg up on the competition.
Step into them. Sherry recalls seeing the death of her mother as a child. Lutheran comforted her, stating her mother was a great researcher and offered to take and raise Sherry.
Yes, I will take and raise you. Dude, once again, every character gets a fully fleshed out backstory, an entire plot line, a character that betrays them. Like, they all have, like, a really well-developed thing. And then Cid comes.
As Lutheran supported her mother's research, Sherry is determined to repay him. Cid leaves Sherry head into the tunnels alone. The cult knight wonders why is Rex taking that long. Some of the terrorists then start shooting the students for fun, but Rose tells
I love how they want to just make these guys bad. Like, yeah, these terrorists, they're even worse than you think, because they're just shooting students for fun. Okay, dude.
Students to not do anything, as without magic, they won't stand a chance. Sherry reaches the auditorium, and seeing the cult knight holding the Eye of Avaris, she activates her artifact and disables the magic blocking field. In that moment, Rose attacks one of the terrorists, stating their magic is back and the students start fighting back. As the fight starts,
versus terrorists! That's just America. I wish every student in America had a gun, so that if some dude came in and wanted to do like a school shooting, all the kids would just instantly annihilate him. What do you think? Prepubescent teenagers having firearms. What do you think, guys? What are our thoughts on this strategy?
Cid comes from the roof with other Shadow Garden members and engages
of course he's on the roof.
Terrorist. The cult knight leaves, but activates a system that causes the auditorium and the rest of the school to burst into flames. Iris finally makes a move, but sees the terrorists are dead and the students are outside and okay. She asks Rose what happened, and Rose explains that once their magic was back, an organization called Shadow Garden came and killed the terrorists, who were also calling themselves Shadow Garden. Sherry couldn't see her father at the auditorium and wonders where is he as she tries.
I wonder where her father is. Damn. Also, there's this one weird dude with a whole masked knight armed guns set thing going. That's crazy.
To escape the fire, the cult knight burns some books. Cid appears.
I wonder who this cult knight is. Also, she didn't see her father there. That's weird.
Why Lutheran is dressed like that. The cult knight removes his helmet, revealing he is indeed Lutheran, and wonders how Cid knows that. But Cid states it was obvious from the moment he saw him. Cid.
Can I? Okay, I think the script guy isn't making it as awesome as he should have done. Do you know why Cid knew that he was her father? Because that is the only reveal that would be interesting. There is no other character that this reveal could be. That would be cool. And it can't just be a no-named guy or else the reveal is boring. So by the fact that he knows that his story needs to be awesome. By that simple fact that he knows that he needs to be in a badass story, there needs to be a twist with him taking the mask off, and the only person it could be that it would be a twist would be the girl's father, which means it has to be the girl's father, because Cid's story needs to be as badass as possible. Man is literally calling out the writers for not giving enough people motivations to be this villain.
Wonders why he did this. Lutheran explains.
Cid is like saying, the writers are just so generic. I'm telling you, this man, he's a reality warping super threat.
That once he reached the top of the sword fighting world, but soon he became sick. He easily lost the glory he fought hard to attain and started searching a way to cure his disease and found potential in a certain artifact. He funded Sherry's mother research and eventually found the artifact he longed for. However, Sherry's mother stated the Eye of Avaris was dangerous and wanted to give it to the government for safekeeping. Lutheran then killed Sherry's mother. Sherry didn't see him there and never realized it.
Turns out that all of this trauma came from him all along.
And continued her mother's research. Cid wonders if Lutheran used Sherry for his selfish...
Of course, he is not reading this book. Cid, stop it. You are not reading this book right now. You don't need to turn pages to make yourself look even more badass.
Reasons, and he confirms.
My God!
Then explains he doesn't care for Sherry and her mother, but suggests they start before someone else comes. Cid and Lutheran then face each other, but in an instant Lutheran cuts Cid and he falls through the window. A moment later, Shadow comes.
I forgot that he did this shtick. Oh, he's like, oh no, I was defeated, no! And then Shadow comes. All right, dude.
Having experience with strong fighters, Lutheran immediately notes that he knows he is at disadvantage against Shadow. Not wanting to waste time, he pulls out the Eye of Avaris and the Control Unit artifact and explains that when you combine them, their true value shows. As he does, he starts overflowing with magical energy and feels reborn.
I am even more powerful now, of course.
Attacking Shadow. However, Shadow easily blocks his attacks without even moving from his spot. Lutheran decides to get serious and lunges at Shadow.
I love how now he decides to get serious, of course. I was only using like 17% of my power before.
But he ends up cut by him. Angered, Lutheran still continues to attack Shadow and explains that he made sure Shadow Garden are blamed for all of this and they will be hunted by everyone. Shadow finds that hilarious and explains that something small as this won't end his organization.
Bro, you think doing a terrorist attack on a school, stealing artifacts and murdering innocent children is a big enough event for people to think that we're a super threat? Dude, we're taking down countries here. You think a little terrorist attack is gonna sell you a reputation?
Which isn't good or evil, but walks on its own path. Shadow is fine taking all the guilt for all crimes, but states that won't change anything and they will continue to do what they must. Shadow then disarms Lutheran and proceeds stabbing his limbs. He then recalls...
Just stabs his limbs one by one. Yes, sir.
How Lutheran stated he killed Sherry's mother.
Dude, I love this image. I used this for the thumbnail of my, I love that scene. That scene is so dope. Your God is here and he's fresh out of mercy. I know they tell you not to put too many words on the thumbnail, but I was like, I have to!
Stabs him the same way and
Dude,
kills
I love how he's like so calm about stabbing him.
In that moment, Sherry arrives and sees her dead father and starts crying over his body. Shadow notes it's better if he doesn't tell her about her mother and just leaves.
Like, so what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? They're gonna put a bounty on Shadow's head? There's already a bounty on Shadow's head. No need to traumatize this girl. Traumatizing the girl would be uncool. You know the cool thing for the hero to do? The cool thing for the hero to do is to just take the blame and let this girl live her life knowing that her father actually loved her. Bro! He's making himself a villain. He's increasing the bounty on his head, and he's being the solemn, silent hero, you know, not ruining for everyone else. This is like a Zorro nothing happened moment, except he's doing it to look cool. He's not doing it because he gives a shit.
Was labeled as enemy to the kingdom and is wanted for mass murder, kidnapping, arson, and robbery. Gamma tells Alpha that Shadow states he will gladly accept the guilt for all crimes, but that won't change anything and they will keep doing what they must. Alpha thought they stood...
That's actually kind of incredibly badass. Like, dude, I will take the guilt of all crimes. I don't care. We do what we need to do. He's not doing this for a reputation. He's doing this to look badass to us. And to us, a man who's willing to take all of the crimes, take accountability for everyone else's crimes. It doesn't matter because they have a mission. He's so cool. And he just does it to be cool, which is just amazing. What's the government going to do? Put a higher band at the end of his head. Who cares?
Good for righteousness, but Shadow doesn't seem to see it that way, and they must live up to his resolve. She tells Gamma to assemble the available 7 shadows. The academy gets closed for an earlier summer break. Sherry thanks Sid for his help the other day. She tells him that she decided to go study abroad in Lagos. She needs to do something, but can't do it at the moment with her knowledge, and also has no reason to stay here anymore.
She wants to make a nuclear bomb.
She wished to get to know Cid better, but Cid tells her they can do that next time. Before leaving, he asks her what she needs to do. After a moment of silence, she tells him it's a secret. The summer breaks start earlier, and
she wants to find a way to take down Shadow.
Students decide to head home.
Yeah, this arc is sick. I think the previous arc that we just saw is one of the weaker arcs in the show, maybe the weakest arc in the show, even though it wasn't bad. This arc that we're about to see is, I think, really good.
Nothing to do at home.
Probably the second best arc in the show.
Decides to stay in the dorm, but soon realizes he doesn't have anything to do there either. He soon receives a letter from Alpha telling him about Lindworm. Meanwhile, Epsilon is happy to start her day. Dude,
I love the Epsilon episodes. Okay, alright, okay. Listen, Epsilon may not be best girl, but that's because there's so much competition. Epsilon is, in my opinion, underrated AF. Everyone's out there, Delta, Alpha. Listen, you guys are both right. You guys are both correct. But Epsilon's so funny. I like Epsilon. She's just such a simp.
Calls how she was saved by Shadow and
right, because every single one of them saved by Shadow in a different way.
Slime magic, which allowed her to fight 2 fates. Using the slime magic, she gives herself
she gives herself boob and butt augmentations. She out here being Fifi's VTuber model upgrades in real life.
A larger bust. Veta writes a novel about how Shadow saved a woman from Zin and Griffey, but gets frustrated and decides to take some fresh air. Outside, Beta ends up meeting Epsilon, who states that lately Shadow has been gazing at her at especially her chest. Beta doesn't want to believe it, but Epsilon states that since both have large busts, they are more aware of those sort of glances. Epsilon then,
since both of us have massive breasts, both of us are fully aware of this reality. And she's like, but yours is fake, no!
Beta if she had not received such gazes from Shadow. Nu then comes and tells them that they have a new directive from Alpha.
Also, I love how they introduce characters by, like, from the butt angle.
Such gazes from Shadow.
It's like, Moo shows up to the screen. Yes,
then
it's
comes
me!
And tells them that they have a new directive from Alpha. Iris and Alexia visits Gamma's store to prepare for Alexia's trip to the Sacred Land as a special guest for the goddess's trial. Alexia intends to use the opportunity and speak with Archbishop and looks into dark rumors about corruption and missing orphans. Gamma meets them and introduces herself as Luna. After explaining why they are there, Alexia requests to see some other more common items for everyday use, which won't be exactly for her, but it won't be a gift to someone either. Gamma then realizes what she means and
she knows. She knows.
Shows her some panties and thongs, as they barely cover anything and the men like them. Iris is against it, but Alexia likes them and is confident she will look good in them.
I will! I swear! And this is not to riz anybody or anything, Baka.
She ends up trying them and manages to convince Iris to let her buy them. After the terrorist attack, Rose heard that Cid is alive and rushed to find him. She found him covered in bandages and states he must have survived and caused a miracle.
No, you did it! Another girl to add onto his dick, harem. Let's go!
By his deep love to her. She accepts his love, and as he saved her, she will give him her heart. I sense your love,
I will be here with you. And he's thinking to himself, no! It backfired! The being a background character backfired. What was that blush from Iris, bro?
Together.
Damn. You make a really good point there.
She will look good in them. She ends up trying them and manages to convince Iris.
What is going on here? Alright, sisters. Back up. What is this, Alabama? Dude, we did not need a Yuri incest arc in Eminence and Shadow. Or did we?
Deep love to her. She accepts his love, and as he saved her, she will give him her heart. Later, Cid and Rose are traveling together in a train.
And he's just like, no, I want to just be a background character. What is this? Aww.
Towards the sacred lands, with Rose clinging to him.
So hard.
As it will take them 2 more days until they arrive, Cid feels his decision to take the train as a background character was a mistake, and he could have run there faster. Rose guessed that
he could run faster than the train. He's like, I wanted to be a background character, so I took the train, but I ended up getting noticed here. I should have just run.
Cid is there to take on the goddess's trial. Cid is not sure but guesses that Alpha sent him for that and confirms it. Rose then explains that those that receive the goddess blessings may even...
Man just has too much riz. He's just, look at this face! Oh god, another woman rubbing her crotch all over me, god.
marry a princess, and if he gets it, she will speak with her father about the young brave man. She still can't tell anyone about them, but believe that if they work hard, they will
She's so... And he's just like, nah.
will have a happy future.
Please stop.
Reaching Lindworm, Cid sees some keychains of a sword piercing a left demonic arm. Rose explains that according to the legend, here Olivier cut off the left arm of the demon Diablos. Somewhere within the nearby mountains are the ruins known as the Sanctuary, where it's said that Diablo's left arm is sealed. Walking around, Rose notices a signing event of the author Nasum. Rose is a big fan of hers and they line up. She explains how original her works are and how diverse and imaginary they are. Cid then checks some of her books and sees titles like Asherella, Star It's a Trap Wars.
And he's like, wait a second, I know these books. These books sound very familiar. Because remember, I actually was thinking of mentioning this earlier when I was talking about the department store thing, but I wanted to save it for now. Remember how I mentioned how the department store situation was going on? And man was so cool that... the biggest food chain in the world is just because of him. Well, turns out the most influential author in the world is also just his stories.
Purse, Dragon Bowl, etc. He quickly realizes they are plagiarized and guesses that someone else had reincarnated like him and lines up to find out who it is.
Who has reincarnated? All this is Shakespeare. All this is Shakespeare. These are books that actually exist. Wait a second. Someone else must have reincarnated as well. And that person is probably also ripping off all the classics. Oh no, someone else is reincarnated here. I need to get a better look. And...
to his surprise, he sees Beta...
It's Beta who's just copying the stories that he tells her, and she's the most influential author in the world right now. Bro, his harem is just... they're too powerful. They're just taking over the world for him.
Nasum.
Every possible way. Money. Clout. Capitalism. Fiction. It's everything.
Wisdom to get herself famous. Cid recalls that Beta told him she loves literature, so he told her a few stories from his past life. He thought she was going to use them as an inspiration to come up with a cool story, but she ended up stealing them. Beta signs a book and gives it to him, stating it contains all the details of the mission.
What an actual freaking legend. Dude, Cid accidentally getting copyright striker. Oh.
Rose shows her book to Cid, saying that Nasum wrote her name in it. She wonders what Nasum wrote to Cid, but are surprised to see it's written in ancient language. Rose knows a bit, but can't read it. She wonders why she wrote it like that, and Cid
it's a secret code.
Guesses it's because it's cool. Alpha is next to Archbishop Drake's dead body and wonders what he was hiding, that they even killed a man of his high status. Cid notices a man running on a rooftop and stops him. The man attacks...
Dude, I love it. I love that. He's like, yo, it would be so cool if I stopped him.
But Cid easily blocks.
Look how much fun he's having.
Then shows up and kills the man. She tells Cid that the target was eliminated by the cult's executioner. They got his henchman, but the executioner has gone into hiding. They will be moving to Plan B.
Every time you see her, her boobs are just a little bit bigger than last time. What a freaking awesome character. Epsilon deserves all the love and respect.
Cid informs her that he will be proceeding with his own plans. One of the things Cid likes is hot springs, while in Lindworm...
Dude, this scene is so fire. This scene is so good.
He goes to a hot spring. Unexpectedly, Alexia is already there too.
What?
He wonders why she is...
And he doesn't even care. He just... Okay, this is another one of those scenes you have to actually see in the anime. I'm sorry. Eminence in Shadow Hot Spring. Sorry. You have to see the scene in the anime. You're stubborn. I make it a point to not look at people much while at a hot spring. It keeps us all much more comfortable while bathing. Might I ask you to stop glancing over at my... Excalibur! What a fucking goober. What a goober! Call that Excalibur, you fool! You wake up to find out that what you thought was a worm was really still contained in its sheath. The epic music and this scene over here. No, no, don't do it. No, slap. Man's a grower, not a shower, I guess. When the holy sword is removed from its sheath. Oh, This show's so good. It knows exactly what it's doing. It knows exactly what it's doing. He's so unserious. It's glorious. A sparkling blade is set.
混沌の園へ
Sets
旅
off
だ
on a quest for the Garden of Chaos.
だろ
And he just leaves her there to just sit there, trembling at the thought of Excalibur.
In Lindworm, and she explains she is a special guest for the goddess.
Coward!
Alexia asks Cid the same question, and Cid explains that a friend invited him, telling him that there is a fun event. Alexia expected Cid to be ogling her, but he isn't
Cid, I cannot believe you're not staring at my bosom.
even looking at her. Cid notes that he tends to not look at people at hot springs so that they all feel more comfortable while bathing, although he would appreciate if she stops ogling his Excalibur. The new acting
What? They didn't show the rest of that scene? Oh man, oh man.
Bishop Jack Nelson cancels the audit with Alexia, explaining that she was there investigating the previous Archbishop, but he is now dead and they will be investigating his death. The
That
goddess
sucks.
trial is starting and Alexia is sitting next to Beta in her
What a coincidence. They're not going to explain what the goddess trial actually is.
Natsum Kafta personality. Seeing her body, Alexia is annoyed at how like
Every single person in fucking Shadow's harem is just leagues ahead of Alexia, and she wonders why Cid doesn't want to date her.
Natsum is and guesses that such types like her are the most corrupt on the inside. At the same time, Beta looks at Alexia and is annoyed by her as she used Cid and also thinks that
Dude! This rival, none of them know like what's going
Alexia
on.
is corrupt on the inside. The trial starts and the first contender is from Oriana Kingdom, top bet.
Is he really not going to explain what these trials are all about?
Two people from the audience sitting behind Cid explain that if a warrior is summoned, you can't leave the barrier around the arena until one of them is defeated. Top challenges a warrior, but no one comes out. After him
Right,
comes
because the warrior that comes out is a warrior from history that's of equivalent strength to the warrior that's challenging, to make the fights more exciting.
next tin line from Migger Knight Order, but no warriors comes to face him too.
And
Cid
this guy was too much of a sucker for anyone to even show up.
really wants to go with Shadow and show his skills, making people wonder who he is. Next is Still Ain't Happen from Logos Vigilant Corps. However, he and many more are unable to summon anyone. Cid is getting bored and hopes the trial ends soon, as after all that only Anaros managed to summon an ancient warrior. In that moment, the announcer reveals the next challenger is from Migger Academy for Dark Knights, Cid Kagenou. Bored, Cid states that
No!
sounds like a background character name, but then realizes it's his name. Cid
He's thinking, oh, what a background character, this is gonna suck. Oh wait, it's me!
wonders if he should come out, but if he do so, the ancient warriors are usually matching the strength of those that come out. and it may
Exactly, so if Cid actually enters, then his cover will be blown by some epic warrior coming out.
be revealed he is quite strong. But if he refuses, if the academy hears that, he may get expelled. Cid decides to use option 3. He creates a light above the arena to distract the people and then jumps in as Shadow.
Dude, I love this scene!
A person then appears after Shadow, shocking Jack as he didn't activate any summons. Beta recognizes the person as Aurora, the Witch of Calamity. However,
Yeah, so what's so crazy is this person that was summoned is stronger than the hero, right? The hero was allegedly supposed to be the highest level person you could summon. But somehow this person came out who is an even higher level even than the hero, because Shadow's so awesome, of course.
there isn't much information about her due to the chaos and destruction that came after her. Beta asks Jack if he
Yes, I will reach into my endless pocket. Yes.
more about Aurora.
Perfect. You just like you guys in chat, for real, for real.
and fallen for her feminine side. Jack agrees, but states that Shadow is unfortunate to summon her as she is the most powerful witch in all of history. Alexia disagrees, stating that if Aurora came, then Shadow's powers must have reached her level. Shadow and Aurora face each other and
Dude,
smile in
this is an
excitement
awesome
as
fight, honestly.
they start
Like,
fighting.
I love how they dude, first of all, Aurora, badass character. I'm really glad that we got to see a lot of her in this arc. Such a cool character. Like, well written, great personality, honest to God, just fantastic character writing, all in all. And she deserves all of that. But even more than that, in order for Shadow to actually face a strong opponent, they had to go to a place with the challenge, with the city, with the country, with the fucking magic summoning shiz, that if he goes into this, it will summon the strongest person in history to face him, just to show you how strong this guy is.
They are both enjoying their battle. Initially, Shadow is just observing and dodging all of Aurora's attacks. He really but sees that Aurora can't use her full power and then defeats her with a single slash, noting that he wished he could have fought her at her full strength. Shadow then leaves, shocking everyone that he won. The barrier then breaks and a magic door appears in the middle of the arena.
Dude just casually beat the strongest witch in history. Witch of Calamity sounds epic, true. And also, you will see more of her because in the past and like this cool alternate world portal shiz. And I'm really glad you do because she is such a cool character and deserves all of the Rule 34 she gets, despite not really being a main character. I mean, not that I've seen any of that. I'm just hypothetically saying if there would be Rule 34, I'd maybe.
It feels he has done
the bitch of Calamity. No, it summoned Sniper Wolf from the portal. The bitch of Calamity has been Okay, I'm sorry.
a good job, and people will talk about Shadow and forget about Cid. A magical door then appears next to him. He moves away, but the door follows him. Realizing he won't be able to escape it, he decides to enter. Another door appeared in the middle of the arena. Nelson wonders if the sanctuary responded to Shadow and explains that the door appears to those who are worthy to pass through it. The door starts opening, and Nelson gives orders to remove the citizens and that the trial is canceled. He then tries to make Alexia and the rest leave, but Shadow Garden appears led by Alpha. She asks Alexia and Rose to not do anything until the door is closed and then enters the door. Epsilon had defeated Nelson's guards and states he will be coming with them inside the gate. Nelson refuses.
Right, of course, they capture the random guy that's totally not going to be evil.
And calls his guard Venom to kill Epsilon. He attempts to cut Epsilon, but the slash ends up.
Yo! I love this. Chekhov's gun. Right? Her fake boobs. Just slices her fake boobs off. And then grabs them and takes them. I love this show so much.
Epsilon manages to reattach them and quickly defeats Vem. She then asks Nelson if he saw anything, but Nelson states he didn't
see anything. Wow, your boobs are so real.
See anything. Epsilon then grabs him and jumps into the door. Other Shadow Garden members take Beta as hostage and get in the door as well. The door starts to close, but Alexia and Rose jump in as well. Alexia and Rose are transported to where Alpha is. Alexia states she tripped and fell into the door, but Alpha doesn't care and tells her that it's fine. Alpha explains that this is where the hero Olivier cut the Diablo's left arm and they sealed it. They came to learn more about the cult, but know that Nelson won't talk. Alpha then shows her face, which is the same as Olivier. Nelson then realizes she was a possessed elf, but as she wasn't compatible.
Nope, not a possessed elf, just an elf that was saved and taken by Shadow to be epic and pog and all of that.
She should have been dead. Alpha states they know the truth behind Olivier and the possessed. They suspect that the cult goal isn't just reviving the demon and states they should proceed to see for themselves. Alpha then activates the big door and opens it. Cid enters a room where Aurora is and wonders.
I love this part. This relationship between Cid and Aurora right here. Bruh.
If she summoned him. Aurora states she didn't, but notes they had a fun fight. She wonders how he got here, and Cid explains a door showed up and didn't stop following him. He wonders how they can leave, but Aurora states her memory is incomplete and doesn't have any memories of ever leaving.
And thus the friendship of the Witch of Calamity and Shadow the badass edgelord feller come together.
Then decides to head back from where he came, but Aurora stops him and asks him what she is wearing and if he can help her. Cid notes.
Dude, I'm just thinking, because of my commentary throughout this, I'm talking about how every female character in the arc ends up at some point shackled or chained or tied down. Bro! I wasn't even thinking, why is it? It's literally every single arc. I was joking before, but this is legit at this point. What?
Straitjacket. Cid then frees her, and Aurora states since they have the same.
And of course, she's so powerful and magic. So even in this history, she's trapped, and he's just like, "Oh sure, I'll free you. I'm stronger. Whatever."
Goal of leaving this place, they should work together. She explains she knows how to free herself, and that the sanctuary is a memory prison created from ancient battles. If they go to its center and destroy its magical core, then she will be free. She also notes that they can't use magic, and if they try, the magic will be absorbed. Cid agrees and wonders what she will do once she is free. And
I wonder what the Witch of Calamity, who's destroyed an entire country in the past, will do once she's freed. I don't know. We'll free her anyway.
Aurora states she will vanish into nothing. Alpha and the group explore the facility, and Alpha explains that this is the memories of the hero Olivier. Long ago, the cult gathered orphan children.
Right, and they all...
and used them for experiments. Most of the children ended up dying.
Right, they all have to wear regular clothes because the shadow goop clothes don't work.
A small group of girls survived. Meanwhile, Cid and Aurora see a memory of young Aurora who is crying. Aurora states that to move forward,
again, exploring all the background, the backstories of the side characters. These are all super fleshed out characters, and it's just amazing that the least fleshed out character is Cid, right? Who's just seemingly a one-note character, but He is the ace in the hole. He is what makes the entire world shake.
To end this memory, she slaps the young Aurora, telling her that crying won't change anything, and soon the memory shatters.
Slapping children? You should have told me earlier. I would have been sold on this anime so much first.
Explained
Bastard.
that Olivia was one of the compatible children and they implanted Diablo cells in her. Nelson states they didn't have a choice as they needed power to fight the demon. Alpha proceeds explaining that once Olivia matured, she was given a mission to extract new cells from Diablos. Olivia remained obedient, believing that if she does her mission, it will lead to people living in peace. But no matter how many parts she cut, the demon still lived. The cult used powerful artifacts to immobilize the left arm and gain more Diablo cells. They were able to create red pills, but its side effects were
not the red pills. The red pill community is way too strong. They're out here all gorging upon freaking demon cells when you should have been black pilled like me and Cid Kagenou.
Strong and not what the cult wanted. They were able to make pills that will grant tremendous power and ageless body. Alpha points to a man in the memory and to Nelson. Alexia and the rest realized it's the same man. Nelson reveals they call the drug beads of Diablos. Alpha states it had two flaws and one of them is the hair loss. Nelson then denies it, explaining that he lost his hair due to stress as he was surrounded by idiots who made him do all the work since he has a mortal body. Alpha then reveals the first flaw is that they need to take the beads once a year or the effect will disappear. The second flaw is that they can only produce small amounts, and Nelson reveals it's 12 per year. Alpha guesses that's why
the 12 Knights of the Round. Interesting.
Knights of Rounds contain...
Who could have possibly guessed that Nelson was a villain? No way.
Only 12 members. They have not perfected the beads and believe the key to that is the demon's arm and the hero's descendants with Olivia's blood. She asks Nelson, calling him the 11th of the rounds, if she is correct. Nelson confirms and states he is Nelson the Avaricious. He buffs himself, but in that moment, Delta stabs him.
By the way, this is the arc that Delta goes from background character number 12 to best girl. I'm just warning you in advance. Y'all not howling yet, but you will.
From behind and throws him down into the water. Nelson comes
casually she does it too.
Out of the water, breaking the memory and separating them into groups. As he faces Alpha and Delta, he multiplies himself. Delta...
You are about to see what the best girl in Eminence and Shadow can do.
Easily cuts down Nelson's copies, but feels something is wrong. Nelson explains that the closer they are to the center of the sanctuary, the more of their power is drained. Alpha adds that at the same time, the closer is Nelson to the center, he gains more power.
Right? I love how they have to always make the odds even crazier, right? It's like, okay, so the main character, this isn't even Shadow. This is just like random harem members from Shadow's group, right? So... You got Shadow's group here, okay? It's like, now, let's remind everyone for a moment that I am stronger here because I'm closer to the core, and you are weaker because you are closer to the core. Sure.
Get even closer, but states this far is enough to be able to defeat them. Cid and Aurora reach another memory, a battlefield with many casualties. They find young Aurora crying again, and Aurora takes Cid's sword, wanting to kill her.
Kill the child.
Memory.
However, I'm not a furry. Stop it, Chad. I'm not a furry.
The dead return to life and start attacking them.
Aurora, as dead tend to do in this anime,
explains that the sanctuary is rejecting them. Cid wonders what will happen if Aurora dies, and she guesses she will return in the first room where they met. Epsilon's group find a sick person, but as it goes through Epsilon, the person disappears. Epsilon then explains that it probably was a memory that reacted to them and materialized. They find an archive with information about the possessed and realize this could have happened to them too if they didn't met Shadow.
Yeah! Just another reason to remind her that Shadow is everything, brother. Just another reason to remind the 665 members in Shadow's harem that all of them owe everything to him and will never ever betray or do anything. For real. You owe it all to your guy, your boy, your Shadow. Shadow's just too cool. The accidental riz oozing out of this man has forever shaped what anime has become. I think that Isekai is such an oversaturated genre in general, right? You know, using the same tropes again and again and again. What Eminence and Shadow did managed to fill a void of taking the power fantasy to the absolute max, putting the main character as the ultimate ideal edgelord, just being edgy for the sake of it, and making a fully fleshed out world around him that he can just warp with his omnipotence, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, I know that this seems almost generic, but Eminence and Shadow takes it to such an extreme that it filled a void that I don't think we will ever see surpassed.
That had created Polaroid cameras based on information from Shadow, and they take
They
pictures
invented cameras. Sure.
of the information. Cid and Aurora are easily defeating the zombies, but as more are coming, Cid goes and kills the young Aurora, ending the memory. The two then reach the center of the sanctuary. Meanwhile, even though she is losing—
Go! Hashtag not a furry, hashtag not a furry, hashtag not a furry, hashtag not a furry. God damn, Delta, easy, best girl. Easy. This is Delta without magic. Holy ballsack dragging on the ground. This is a new perspective on Isekai. Yeah, I really like this perspective. This is such an interesting perspective of Isekai. This is my favorite perspective of Isekai. Easily the top Isekai perspective I have ever seen.
power, Delta is obliterating Nelson,
Yes,
who
sir.
is shocked by her power. Aurora
And
tells
this is without magic, by the way.
Cid that they
Fuck
need
you,
to
Nelson.
destroy the magic core, which is on the other side of the door. Cid considers cutting the chains and the door, but feels the sword will break. Aurora notes there should be a key. There is a sword in front of the door, and Aurora explains it's written on it that it can cut the chains. Looking at it, Cid is sure he won't be able to pull it out from the ground. As he attempts and can't pull it out, he confirms, stating it must be drawn out by the Chosen One. Aurora then sees a sign stating
Only
that
the Chosen One can draw out the sword, and even I am not the Chosen One. I'm just some average schmo in the background that happens to be the strongest person to ever live.
Holy Sword can only be drawn by direct descendants. Aurora is surprised that Cid managed to decipher the magical inscription that fast. As
He didn't the funniest thing is, Cid's thinking to himself, yeah, no, I didn't decipher the magical inscription. I just guessed because it would be a cringe story if I am the Chosen One. Like, I would be way cooler as the not Chosen One that became the badass than the Chosen One. So, why would I be able to do it?
there is no other way to open the door. The two then sit down. Watching Delta fight Nelson, Alexia wonders if she is really working with Shadow. She explains that Delta's fighting style
I
is
love Delta! Sorry, no, not a furry.
totally different than the sophisticated techniques that he used. As Delta defeats another
He's just
force of
annihilating them! Look at
Nelson,
this!
the memory breaks, and Nelson is surprised she managed to defeat over 100 copies without even breaking a sweat.
Or
Alpha
using magic.
states that even if he was able to create 100 copies, they'd all still have one brain, and he couldn't control them all that well. Nelson then sees a statue of Olivier and calls for Olivier to come. Olivier comes out, but at the same time, Epsilon joins Alpha and states they are done with the investigation and can leave. Nelson is surprised that they are running away, but Alpha explains their objective
Running away, you foolish old bald man.
to cut off the source of power and now know how the sanctuary defenses work, so they will be returning again. As Alpha and the rest leave, Nelson starts wondering what to say to the rest and guesses he will explain that he lured them here to expose their identities and that with Alpha's blood, they can perfect the beads. He then gets a notification that someone is in the sanctuary center. Cid asks Aurora
Sorry.
if she wants to disappear. Aurora explains that once the core is destroyed, she will be free and that this is a prison of memories that repeat into eternity. Cid tells her to wait a bit
Infinite tic-tac-toe.
and soon things will work out. Cid expects the protagonist to show up and be able to pull out the sword. However,
He's
Nelson
so cute. I love how they do the shiny on the thing.
appears and Cid wonders if it's one of those scenarios where the bad guy comes first and tries to stop the protagonist. Cid
Dude, it's so cute. He's like, is this one of those scenarios where the bad guy is going to try to stop the protagonist before the protagonist shows up originally? That would be interesting.
sees Olivier and that she has the same face as Alpha. Nelson then sends Olivier at them and Cid goes to face her, knowing that she is quite strong. Olivier attacks Cid, who blocks her attacks,
Dude,
but she sends him
dude
flying
has no fear. It's crazy.
everywhere and ends up breaking his sword. Nelson wonders why is Cid smiling, and Cid realizes he indeed is smiling. Olivier attacks again and
He's like, oops, I was trying to not smile. I accidentally let the joy out because of how fun and cool and exciting this
to
is.
injure Cid, who notes that a battle without conversation is tedious and that she doesn't have a heart and isn't answering any of his questions. Nelson doesn't understand what he is talking about and orders Olivier to finish him
That
off.
was actually a really cute scene.
Aurora jumps in and asks him to stop. Even though she doesn't remember it well, she knows that no human can defeat Olivier. She tells Cid he have done enough and gave her more new memories that she could have asked.
Ah, she's awesome.
Nelson laughs at her, noting that without magic she can't do anything, but if she agrees to help him, he will spare Cid. Cid interrupts them, stating that he doesn't need help and they shouldn't assume he will lose.
I love this. I love this. They're all assuming no human alive can defeat the hero. And he's just like, listen, guys, I appreciate that you're discussing as though I was defeated, but you forget that I am the Eminence in Shadow. I hunt the shadows from the shadows.
Annoyed, Nelson orders Olivier to kill him and she jumps in and stabs him. Cid, who has been keeping his right eye closed for a while, opens it, stating he got them. Olivia
Got
stabs
him,
Cid,
baby!
but he
Why was his eye closed for so long? Well. Next flex, baby.
grabs her and bites her neck, ripping it and defeating her.
He just bit her jugular out. He just ripped out her jugular vein.
Nelson wonders
He's
how
like, what is going on here? What am I up against?
Cid's still alive after being stabbed, and Cid explains that if you protect your vital organs and arteries, it's easy to survive a stabbing. Nelson explains he is surprised to see Olivia getting defeated by a kid with no magic, but states she was just a copy. With the amount of magic he has in the center of the sanctuary, he summons countless copies of Olivia. Several attack Cid, but
Dude, I love how every villain needs to just completely one-up themselves. I get it again and again, just to show you exactly how insane Shadow is. And every arc manages to do it. It's like, at some point you're going to be like, there's no way the next arc is going to top this. And it does.
but he opens his right eye and defeats them using his magic. Nelson is surprised he is able to use magic. Cid explains that he just tempered with the magic until it was too solid to be absorbed. It took him some time, but it's something simple. Nelson can't believe that's
Sure,
possible
it makes absolutely no sense, but it's something simple, don't worry.
and orders the Olivia copy.
I just simply Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the angle is, dude, whoever made this show deserves an Oscar.
kill him. Cid fights them, but as his wound continues to bleed, he notes the playtime is over. However, Cid is unaffected and finishes his spell. Aurora is surprised by the amount of magic he has. The explosion obliterates all Olivia's, along with the chain door and everything else.
Dude, you think I needed the fucking sword to break the chains? Homie, I could have just nuked that shit instantly.
Cid wakes up with Aurora by his side. She is surprised that he survived being stabbed in the heart, and Cid explains that he used magic to move his heart to the other side. Aurora starts disappearing and confesses that she was the one that called him there. She notes she lied for other things as well, but Cid is fine with it. Aurora states that for a long time
Aurora,
she wanted to fade away and forget everything, but now has a memory she doesn't want to forget and thanks Cid.
Isn't that like a beautiful ending? Like, isn't that a beautiful ending for the character?
Before completely disappearing, Aurora tells Cid what to do if he ever met the real her. Alexia feels
The real her? What a cool character.
frustrated being weak and unable to do anything. She wants to start an organization with Rose and Beta and look up for information and decide what to do. Beta states that they have no precise plan, but both Rose and Beta agree to form a team. Epsilon
Right?
reports
So
to
now
Alpha
Beto's, of course, like, in enemy ranks. It's awesome. Dude, what a cool fucking show. Every arc is just such a banger. One after the other.
that the sanctuary has been obliterated, the holy sword vaporized, along with the magical core. Alpha notes that was the simplest and the most effective solution and congratulates Shadow. Epsilon also reveals that Beta is working with Alexia and may infiltrate her inner circle. Epsilon also confirms their theory that Aurora has another name, the Demon Diablos. A man
Right? Aurora, the one wizard lady that you saw the whole time, is the embodiment of the demon. And Shadow's just, like, fucking made friends with her. I love this fucking show! No! Okay, alright. Well, the good news is the final arc of the first season is by far the best.
tries to convince Gamma to buy a prime property in Madlid and open her shopping center there. Gamma isn't sure at first, but as one of her employees tells her that they found petroleum, Gamma decides to buy every property in that street and explains she wants to
Because also, let's not forget how filthy rich Shadow Garden is, too.
redevelop the city and make it the greatest city in Velgalta. Alpha recalls an earlier time with Cid when they made their base of operation. She explains they need to start training the girls as they will be facing the cult and need to enhance their individual strength. Alexia explains to Iris that the Archbishop was part of the cult to
For free?
strength. Alexia explains to Iris that the Archbishop was part of the cult. To be able to keep the sanctuary a secret, they need some big organization,
Yes,
and Alexia
they
wants
do.
to
They
investigate
totally
the
need a
divine
big
teaching.
organization.
Iris
Dude,
had
I love how this show knows exactly what they're doing.
suggested the same thing to their father, but he told them to not do anything. However, Iris feels that if she wins the Bushin Festival again, she will have more backing and support
Yes,
of the people,
all I have
and
to
their
do is
father
win the
will have to listen
festival.
to her.
And I'm the strongest swordsman in the land, so that should be easy.
Alexia wonders if the cult or Shadow Garden won't get involved, but Iris is sure of her.
I love how they're like, all right, we need to get these two women to have a conversation, all right, for the sake of the plot. So we're just going to make them naked. Because, why not?
sword skills. Iris wonders why Alexia went into the sanctuary. Alexia then acts a bit dumb and excuses himself and leaves. Iris notes to herself that her Crimson Knights lost their strongest members and probably won't be able to rebuild them. The Knight Order was supporting her, but she guesses they hate her as she took their strongest members and let them die. Rose is training.
She took their members and let them die. That sounds so wrong.
However, she feels strange and demonic possession appears on her chest.
Right? It's like every single one of these characters has like full character arcs that don't just span a single arc. They span multiple arcs. Dude, every lore dump done by naked women, honestly, dude, if you're gonna do a lore dump, I'm just saying.
The Bunchen Festival is starting and strong
This
warriors
festival's
all over the
awesome!
world start gathering.
Bro, this is how you do a tournament arc, brother. Oh god, just completely subverting the expectations of any tournament arc you've ever seen.
Also enter the tournament to act weak and all, but defeat its opponents and shocks everyone how strong he is. Cid visits Gamma and asks her to help him with a disguise and enter the Bunchen Festival. Gamma wonders why, but Cid states he can't tell her. Gamma uses a special...
I can't tell you why I want a disguise to enter this festival. And the real reason why he wants to enter the festival is to reveal that he was Shadow at the very end and be a complete and epic mad lad. It's literally just because it's fucking awesome. There's no plot. It's not to defeat the demons. It's not to get money. Dude, and this man, he's such a badass. Why do you want that? I can't tell you. That makes it sound so much cooler than it actually is. I have to use that. I have to fucking use that. It's like, Nux, why did you do that? And I'll just be like, I can't tell you at this point in time. And everyone's like, holy thick, he has a whole plan. Yes.
That will help him conceal his face and shape it how they want. She shows him pictures of how he wants to look, and Cid notes he wants to look weak. Gamma then suggests
you can take this very mundane-looking man.
A lazy dark knight with no skill. He was disowned by his noble family and died 5 years ago an unremarkable and unremarked death. Cid agrees and Gamma turns him into mundane. Cid then changes his posture
Mundane man! My goals are beyond your understanding.
to look like his new character.
He just dislocates his shoulder so he can... Introducing new Whammon of the Arc. One of the two new Whammon of this arc.
Rose, who managed to summon an ancient warrior at the goddess trial, sees Cid in his mundane character. Looking at his cheap gear and sickly body, she states he is an amateur and warns him to not participate
Whose name is literally Mundane Man, by the way.
in the Bunchen Festival. Cid tells her to not judge a book by its cover and that he doesn't need her help. He walks away smiling that his disguise works. He is immediately stopped by Quentin, who
Dude, I
tells
love
him
how they introduced Quentin.
he needs to take her advice.
Quentin
explains he fought several times.
I am fucking big as a bear and strong as two. I have a massive sword.
And then Quentin just kind of fucking sucks.
at Bunchen festivals, and each there are weaklings like Cid, so it's better if he just go home. Cid states that he is at least stronger than Quentin.
Yo, what a badass, right? He's the strongest guy here by far, right? Shadow, the strongest guy here by far. And he's like,
You weaklings like you should go home.
and he's like, yes, I may be a weakling, but I'm at least stronger than you are, Quentin. Oh! I am Quentin. I fucking suck.
Angers Quentin, who picks up Cid and punches him into an alley. Cid still states he is
And
weak,
Sid's like, oh no! Anyway, at least I'm stronger than Quentin.
angering more Quentin. Cid notes there are several moves he can do right now and defeat Quentin, but he has no intention of fighting yet and leaves Quentin to beat him up. Anaros eventually stops Quentin. She apologizes to Cid, and while she could have stopped the fight at any moment, she decided to let Quentin beat him up so that Cid quits and don't get injured more at the festival.
Don't you love parents like that? Parents that see their kid, like, having a really hard time, and then the parent's like, I could have stepped in any moment to stop this really hard time that you're having, but I decided not to do that because I felt like this hard time would teach you a valuable lesson about the future and not to get into issues. Thank you, Mom!
Cid leaves, which surprises Anaros that he isn't hurt. She introduces herself.
Wait, he isn't hurt? He took all that beating? Maybe he is hiding something. Panties begin to sodden.
And asks Cid about his name, and Cid reveals it's Mundane Man. Cid meets with Skel Ito, who wants to make bets and win some money on the tournament. He explains that the tournament will start with prelims and only the strongest will proceed to the main tournament. He also tells him who are the favorites. As Cid wants to show his powers only at the end, he wonders on how to defeat the stronger opponents without revealing his powers.
Right, he's like, okay, so here's the thing. If I'm going to be Mundane Man and I'm going to face all of these opponents, I have to find a way to defeat them without actually looking like I'm good. I just have to make all my opponents look like they suck. Are you realizing what he just said? Do you understand what he just said? He said, I need to overpower my opponents, not by looking strong, but by making them look weak so that I don't look strong. Mundane Man is a menace to society.
As he leaves, he meets Rose, who explains she got friends with Alexia and Nassim Kafka. She also reveals that she is going to meet her father, and he will be introducing her to her fiancé Perv Ashat. Rose explains that she...
No, wait. No way they called him Ashat in this AI voice. His name is Perv Asshat. That is his name in the canon. The canon character Perv Asshat is a real character in Eminence in Shadow. Dude, Perv Asshat is a real character in Eminence in Shadow. Okay? Asshat. Yes, Perv Asshat. President Rose stabbed her fiancé Perv Asshat and ran off. I love this show.
She is a princess from a land of art and culture, but she disappointed and betrayed a lot of people when she decided to become a knight. When she was young, she met a hero and was inspired.
When I was young, I met a hero with a bag on his head. Dude, every single one of these characters as a child was accidentally saved by Shadow at a different point. What fucking awesome.
Inspired by him to pick up the sword. She still refuses to abandon her ideals, and that may cause her to betray more people. She asks Cid if he will keep believing in her, and Cid confirms it. Cid and Skell are watching fight. Skell explains that he is gathering data so that he can make better bets. He continues to explain how he can calculate the odds for better bets, but he will need some money to make the odds 100%. Cid ignores him. Goldo Kimeki,
dude, I love this guy.
Behind Skell.
Oh, freaking joke.
He finds that fascinating. Skell recognizes him and gets excited. Goldo explains he also tabulates data as it helps him win. Next,
right? This is when you're introduced to the power levels. You know how every anime like introduces power levels at a certain point? Like Seven Deadly Sins, like at the beginning of season 2, they're like, power levels are totally a thing that happens. So this guy also, he does power levels for characters just purely to show off Shadow. It's amazing. It's like, and unlike all these other shows where the whole power level shtick ends up getting really boring really fast because like suddenly it doesn't make sense because you're always introducing new, stronger characters that don't fit into the power levels of the world and they have to drop it, like in Dragon Ball or in Seven Deadly Sins. Over here, it's explained as a joke just to make Shadow look awesome. Brother, this is like meta hilarious.
Next match is Gonzalez Machamber versus Mundane Man.
Gonzalez Machamberg. Okay.
He needs to take a dump and leaves. Goldo decides to analyze the fight and explains you can get general idea of the fighter's strength before the fight. Gonzalez has a glint in his eyes and arrogant smile, which means he is a tough fighter with a lot of experience. His battle powers is 1364. On the other
1364 battle power.
hand, Mundane Man is astoundingly inept, and Goldo wonders how he made it to the third round. With his weak face, build, and aura, his battle power is 33. Goldo
33.
expects Gonzalez to win in less than a second. Skell is impressed with the analyze. A second after the fight starts, Gonzalez falls down. People assume that Gonzalez tripped and fell.
Oh, he must have tripped, right? This is part of the thing I was telling you earlier. He can't make himself look good. He just has to make everyone else look bad.
And Mundane is announced as winner, which disappoints the crowd. Rose, however, saw how Mundane landed 2 quick punches on the chin. Goldo acts like he also knew this could happen and Mundane to win. He tells
Skell, it was all part of his plan. Sure.
that you can win by betting on those with higher battle power or find the weak ones and bet on their opponents. As Goldo leaves, Cid returns and Skell asks him to give all of his money so that he can bet on Goldo, but Cid refuses. Early in the morning,
no, I will not give you all of my money. Dude, that true friends are people that are able to ask their friends to borrow money. But true friends say no. Do not enable my gambling addiction, please, thank you.
Skell knocks on Cid's door and shows him the newspaper stating that Rose stabbed her fiancé Perv Asshat.
No! Stop calling him Perv Asshat! It's Perv Asshat, the glorious and well-renowned Perv Asshat. First in line of the Asshat noble lineage. Get it right, Icarus. Thank you for the sub.
Ran away.
Alexia and Beta look at Rose's situation. The Oriana Kingdom wants to handle it themselves.
Changes AI voices every 2 episodes. He changes AI voices. The other throat, the AI throat gets tired, I guess.
Migger Kingdom to not get involved. Since
dude,
Perv
they have to stop pronouncing the kingdom that way. Honest to God, dude.
Asshat is a son of one of the Oriana Kingdom's dukes. If they arrest Oriana, she will be in serious trouble, but won't be given death penalty due to her royal status. Alexia wants to
God,
find
I love
Rose
how royal status stops you from getting the death penalty. Dude, that just says so much about society, doesn't it?
before Oriana Kingdom in order to hear her side of the story. However, Beta guesses that Rose may not have told them anything to avoid the possibility of trouble between the kingdom. Alexia understands that, which is why she's pissed as they are sworn allies. Beta will try gathering some more information while Alexia decides to ask her sister for advice.
Yes.
After Alexia leaves, Beta guesses she may give her more info on Perv Ashat, which will keep her occupied.
Perv Ashat, stop, please. Call it. Say my name. Can someone, Walter White, say my name clip, please. Say my name. I am Perv Ashat. Get it right, bitch.
And not do something to get in trouble. Beta is informed that Rose made it through the sewers and is into the underground ruins right now. Cid wonders on what to do, but decides to continue his role as Eminence in Shadow. Between the tournament fights, he encounters Beatrix, who smells the scent of elf on Cid and wonders if he knows elf.
I smell the scent of elf upon you. Is it just me, or does that sound like super wrong? Like, dude, does that not sound like awful? I smell the scent of elf upon you.
Cid confirms and Beatrix explains she is looking for the daughter of her sister.
Beatrix, by the way, best girl introduced in this arc. No offense to the little whatever the blue girl. No offense to blue girl. Beatrix is easily best girl in this arc.
And wonders if Cid had seen someone that looks like her. Cid is immediately reminded of Alpha but denies it. Beatrix,
right? Of course he'll deny it because Alpha's also an elf and he's just a mundane fellow. He doesn't know what I know Alpha. I'm just a dude.
And draws her sword to cut Cid's head. Cid realizes that she intends to stop before doing it and acts as a background character. Shocked of what just happened.
What a legend! What a legend! Oh, I am so shocked and surprised by the way that you have done this. I cannot believe you have done such a thing!
Beatrix then apologizes, stating thought he was stronger, but it's...
I thought you were stronger. Dude does such a good job. I love how he makes it such a note. Every single time he has to keep up this persona. Also, Beatrix, fucking awesome character. I'm just saying. And the threesome Rule 34 after this arc that came out was, like, actually top tier.
She is
not that I've seen any of it. I'm just imagining, like, hypothetically, if it happened, it would be great. Not that I've never seen porn. MatPat taught me so well. I've never seen porn.
Mistaken. Quentin sees Anaros and guesses she is here to observe mundane man, just like yesterday. He asks her what she thinks of his fight in Anaros.
Quentin thinks he's so cool with his baguettes and his Eiffel Tower. Quentin. Sorry, I just like making fun of Quentin. Guy fucking sucks.
States his opponent supposedly tripped and lost. Quentin agrees, but is sure that Mundane did something. He couldn't see it, but know that Anaros can explain it. Anaros explains she couldn't see it all, and didn't expect to see someone faster than her eyes can follow. But she did see his right hand moving, however what followed was too fast for her to follow. Quentin then guesses he is wrong that he used some artifact and Mundane didn't break the rules. Anaros can't...
Quentin thought he broke the rules. Oh, Quentin, you're so cute, Quentin. Oh, Quentin shows up and sees it too. I know. I love Quentin. He's introduced as like the token, incredibly buff guy that just sucks so badly. It's fantastic. It's so fun. I love Quentin.
Can't disprove that, but the two are sure that his fight with Goldo Kameki should reveal it. Anaros states that Goldo had never lost. She had to fight him 3 times.
Goldo is invincible. He has never lost a battle. Much like the Thunder Cross Split attack and the Emerald Splash, those attacks have never been avoided, just like how Goldo has never lost.
But Goldo simply don't fight anyone.
Also because those attacks have never been used before. Like, he's never lost because he only fights people that have lower points than he does.
One who could possibly beat him and just forfeits. He got his nickname the Unbeaten, but he hates it and uses the Ever Victorious. As the match between
the Unbeaten. No one ever beat him because he only fights people he knows he can win. But he's like, oh, I'm not the Unbeaten. I'm the Ever Victorious. So true, so true. He's just like me. I'm not Nuxanor, the degenerate fucking porn addict. I am Nuxanor, the Ever Fappable. Yes, that's so much better. Thank you so much.
Between Goldo
his meat unbeaten. Thank you.
Mundane is about to begin. Quentin realizes that Anaros means that either Goldo couldn't see Mundane's true strength or Mundane is cheating. The match starts and Goldo rushes at Mundane. He swings his sword, but Mundane cracks his neck and dodges it.
Goldo, dude, Mundane, and everyone's like, wow, what a coincidence. He cracked his neck at the right time and it accidentally dodged the blow.
Then feels how Mundane draws his sword and cuts him, but Mundane slowly draws it and waits. Quentin is...
I love him so much, bro. Oh, God, it's so good. He cracks his neck, which coincidentally dodged the blow.
Surprised, he managed to dodge it, but he couldn't see what happened. Anaros explains that Mudane cracked his neck and avoided the attack. Quentin can't believe such a coincidence can happen, but
He's like, what a coincidence! Yeah.
Anaros wonders if it's not coincidence. She barely could even see it, which isn't something a normal human should be able to do. Goldo tells Mundane that he doesn't like him. He had 1 in a million chance to beat him, but he didn't use it. Angry for humiliating him, Goldo decides to get serious and creates a golden dragon from his magical power. He rushes at
Goldo is so cool, as we can see.
Mundane, but Mundane sneezes and blows away the dragon, and Goldo...
Can you imagine such a fucking flex god? This man blew away Goldo's ultimate technique with a sneeze. Why does he have to humiliate him so much? I don't know. It's amazing.
Which ends up defeating him. Anaros notes that Goldo is stronger than she expected, and if he fought more often with stronger knights, he would have become quite a good one. Quentin wonders what did Mundane do, and Anaros explains that if she saw right, he sneezed. The moment he did it,
if I saw right, he sneezed.
Sword also swung down and Goldo crashed into it. Quentin finds that
it was a coincidence.
Unrealistic and leaves, stating that if Mundane keeps winning, he will eventually face him and show him what he is made of. Anaros wonders if she can move like Mundane and starts cracking her neck and sneezing. Iris
that was a really cringe scene. He rizzed her so bad. Oh, dude can't stop rizzing women.
Gives Perv Ashat the security plan.
Asshat, say it right, damn it.
For the Bushin festival, but he doesn't feel it needs more security. Iris states he looks good and Perv agrees, saying that the news story exaggerated, and guesses that Migra worries that easily because of Alexia's kidnapping. He heard that Iris personally went looking for her, and he intends to follow the same and to have Oriana solve their family problems themselves.
Yes.
Mundane easily defeats Quentin.
I love how they don't even show the Quentin fight. After all the hyping up, all of Quentin being like, I am Quentin, I will defeat him. They don't even show the fight with Quentin. They just end it with Quentin's head in the ground like an ostrich.
Problems themselves. Mundane easily defeats Quentin.
It's Quentin!
People are surprised on what is going on and can't figure out how Mundane keeps winning and if it's safe to bet for him or not. Mundane proceeds into the main tournament, where he will be facing Anaros. Back in the tunnel, Anaros faces Mundane and tells him she misjudged his strength, but she had seen all of his moves and he must not assume he can win the same ways against her. Mundane smiles and removes one of his armor plates, which makes a hole in the ground as
I love how he's just flexing the Rock Lee
falls
shit.
Due to its weight. Mundane explains that the weights are holding him back, but now playtime is over. Anaros tells him to not assume he won already and shows him that not only he can crack his neck. Mundane moves past...
Not only you can crack your neck, she cracks it, and he's just like, oh, okay, and he just walks by, and she's just
As for wondering what she was trying to do, Cid imagines on
what are you trying to do? No! He gaslit her into thinking that it's cool.
He will do in the arena, and how to reveal he is much more powerful. Skell comes knocking on his door, stating he has a plan on how to get rich fast. He shows that Rose has a reward for turning her in or giving information about her location, and tries to convince Cid to work with him and find her so that he can get rich. Cid sees that his sister is visiting and decides to avoid her. He accepts Skell's proposal and uses the window to leave. While walking around town, Cid hears someone playing a piano and notes it's someone good.
Piano foreshadowing! Piano foreshadowing! Sorry.
He recalls how in his previous life he was forced to learn to play piano.
The Moonlight Sonata.
He would have rather trained for his plan to become Eminence in Shadow, but in time he found out that piano is quite cool. However,
piano is quite cool. You're about to see the coolest scene.
As he recognizes the music, he wonders if it should exist in this world and decides to see...
He's like, wait a second, this music is way too good for... I've never heard something so good. Well, guess what? Of course it's his harem that's playing the music, because everything that he sees in this entire world that he's like, whoa, this is so advanced. It's always his harem that invented it. Goddamn.
Playing the piano, since it may be another reincarnated person. Cid is surprised to see it's Epsilon, who, like Gammon, is using what he told her to become famous. After her performance...
Every single one of them. The most famous musician in the world, part of his harem. The most famous author in the world, part of his harem. The most rich lady in the world, part of his harem. Bro, it's just every time.
Asks if that was the Moonlight Sonata, and Epsilon confirms, saying from all the pieces he taught her, this one is her favorite. Epsilon reveals that received rewards for her music composition and had gained connection with influential people. Cid realizes that she played...
She's using her clout as a musician to take over the world. What a fucking lead legend.
Plagiarize all the music he showed her. He asks her if she knows where is Rose hiding. Epsilon states that Beta is working on that case, but she heard she is hiding in the tunnels under the royal capital. Cid thanks her and leaves, but on his way, he notices the piano and smiles. Beta shares some...
Epic foreshadowing! When the foreshadowing is epic! Sorry.
information with Alexia on the suspicion that Perv Ashat is working with a cult. They head down the tunnels under the royal capital.
It
notes
blows
it will be
my
hard
mind
to provide.
here. You have to realize something. You know, Shadow is like this really cool guy. He has like a double identity. He's like a really cringe dude in real life. And then like behind the scenes, he's this epic shadow guy, epic shadow organization, all this shadow stuff. My homies, my brothers and friends. Every single person in his organization also has a secret identity. From the best author to the best pianist to the richest person in the world. Every single harem member is a main character tier character in their own story.
Evidence for Perv involvement with the cult. Iris had told Alexia that the king of Oriana didn't seem affected by...
Why did two people in the chat at the same time say best pianist? Pianist! Like a piano player, not the best pianist. God damn it, what is wrong with you people?
His actions. Alexia is also sure that if they continue to do nothing like her father suggests, the cult will eventually cause lots of problems for the kingdom. Alexia explains that they are heading to the underground passages as there is a chance that Rose had used them to escape. Beta notes that it's a maze down there and wonders how they can leave, but Alexia states they will just return the way they came. Rose recalls how she met her father and Perv the other day. When she saw her father, the king, she knew something was wrong with him, and then saw Perv and the guards' cunning smiles.
When I saw the king, I knew something was wrong with him by the whole, you know, him being mind-controlled and drooling all over the place. Something felt off!
She drew her sword and attacked Perv, but the guards then yelled that she went mad and called for some guards. Rose believes she made a rational decision, but later realizes it wasn't. Even if she managed to kill Perv, he is just one of the cult, whose roots have already too deep within the Oriana kingdom. Perv told her to turn herself in before the Bushin festival, or he will have her father kill one of his guests. Rose now wonders if it's best to turn herself in, as that way it may avoid a war. She recalls her time with Cid, but as her possession gets worse, she feels that marrying Cid and living with him would have been a dream anyway. Rose hears the Moonlight
Man, Riz is so hard.
Sonata and
Are you ready?
starts following the music. Eventually,
What is this music?
she finds Shadow, who is playing on the piano.
Chat, do you see the flex before you?
He took a piano! He stole the piano. He captured this very piano. He dragged it down to a sewer. A cavern in a sewer with a massive area. He threw glowing feathers around, and he is silently playing a piano in the center of the sewers for the flex of it all. He captured a piano. For the drama.
As he finishes, Rose explains she had heard the Moonlight Sonata many times, but without a doubt, this was the best performance she heard.
Of course.
Shadow asks her what she hoped to accomplish, and Rose states she wanted to protect them, but couldn't do anything. Shadow wonders if this is her end, and if she intends to put the sword down. He notes that if she has desire, he will give her power. Rose accepts, as there are things she wants to do and protect. Shadow gives her power and heals her possession. He tells her that true strength lies not in one's power, but in one's way of being. After
Well, it looks like a new harem member is joining Shadow Garden very soon.
Shadow leaves, some members of the cult show up and Rose defeats them easily. Feeling the burst of magic, Alexia and Beta run towards it and find Rose.
The 666th harem member, by the way. This is a real figure.
States she obtained power and will follow the path she believes in. Alexia has questions, but Rose refuses to say anything, not wanting to drag Alexia into this. As Rose keeps refusing to say anything,
silently joins Shadow Garden. How cool is that? She goes through her training arc. Oh my god, I'm sorry. This show is just wild. Like, this is a character you've been following for seasons now. You learned so much about her from the very first time that she's introduced, you know? As the character that's the strongest swordswoman in the school, that was saved by Cid when terrorists attacked, that was heroic in that time, that went to the festival, that eventually was betrayed by her own country. Her father's mind was broken, and she was forced to live a life as an outcast, to eventually meet Shadow. Like, this is just some of the craziest character development ever. And it's just a total side character.
Alexia draws her sword, stating she will make her talk this way. The two start fighting, but Rose defeats Alexia. Rose leaves Alexia to Beta.
Alexia takes more L's than fucking Sniper Wolf did in the last game.
Who states that she won't stop Rose. She notes that they are all different, but may have same ideals, and their alliance may not have been such a bad idea. In the evening, Cid returns home. However, he is surprised to see his sister still waiting for him. Claire chokes Cid, explaining that she was getting more and more angry each second she was waiting for him. She was also angry that he keeps breaking his
siblings. Don't you love when siblings have all this sexual tension between each other? God, I love anime.
Promises, but hands
you
him
can't spell Alexia without an L.
Ticket to the Bushin festival, telling him be there and watch her as she is replacing Princess Rose. Cid goes to the Bushin
because Rose is now gone.
festival and finds out that the ticket his sister gave him isn't an ordinary reserved seat ticket, but a hyper VIP seating.
And he's like, damn it! I hate being in places where people can see me.
To his seat, he sees Iris Midgar and assumes he got it wrong. Iris realizes he is Claire's brother and tells him he is in the correct seat.
And he's like, no! Why do I keep meeting famous people by accident? I'm just trying to blend in! No!
Also explaining she plans taking Claire to her personal order when she graduates. Iris also apologizes to Cid for the Xenon Griffey incident. That draws people's attention, which worries Cid as it's not normal for a background character like him. Some students ask Iris if some competitor caught her eye, and Iris explains it's Anaros, but Iris herself
oh, it's Anaros who's about to get her ass clapped by Mundane Man.
Tends to win the tournament. Cid wonders if there is someone else who caught her eye, suggesting Mundane Man, but the two students explain that he is just fast and lucky, with no skill.
Dude, I love how he has to, like, subtly say, what about Mundane Man? Planting the seed of his own awesomeness in their mind without giving anything away. Sure,
He gets excited that he cultivated Mundane's reputation to perfection. Iris explains that there is one more person who got her eye, an elf who was also the first Bushin Festival champion, although she won't be competing. The two students realize Iris is talking about Beatrix.
The sword god Beatrice!
But note that she haven't showed her face in public in over a decade. Cid recalls Beatrix.
What a cool character, Beatrice, by the way, just saying.
And that he knew she was strong, but didn't know she was famous. Cid then excuses himself and leaves. He feels the presence of someone strong, but is unable to reveal he knows it as he is currently a background character. Beatrix then shows after him
the sword goddess. Dude, she's such a cool character. Dude, I am constantly just excited and blown away that this show manages to have such a good cast. Like, the female characters in this show aren't just like, you know, bags of boobs and butts floating around following the main character. Each one of them is just such a well-written character with such different personalities. Like, I am so impressed that they managed to fit so much personality into all these characters in just a couple of episodes.
Cid acts surprised. Beatrix wonders if he was
Sword
ignoring...
God is holding McDonald's? That just sounds about right. You can be the best in your goddamn field, and you will be a poor man eating from McDonald's because society doesn't give a shit about you. Because they're racist. Or whatever the moral of the story is.
But Cid denies it. She asks him if he ran into an elf that looks like her, but Cid denies it. Beatrix hopes she can find the one she's looking for, as there are a lot of people coming to the festival. Beatrix has brought too many burgers and gives one to Cid. To return the favor, Cid gives one of his burgers to her. Pervashat takes...
I got too many burgers. Here, take a burger. Thank you. And as thanks, I will give you one of my burgers. Perfect. Perfect.
Cid's seat and explains that his king will be attending the festival tomorrow. He wonders about Iris' father, Klaus Midgar, and Iris explains that he will be also watching from tomorrow. Per then sees Anaros coming out in the arena. He heard that she is in the middle of a training pilgrimage and would love to invite her to work for his kingdom. Iris also states
God, I hate this guy.
that a fencer of her caliber would be in use for her kingdom as well. Perv asks her what she
asshat.
thinks of Anaros' opponent, Mundane Man. Iris states she sees him for the first time, but he doesn't look very strong. However, she isn't sure of Anaros' win, as Mundane is a little unnerving, and there is no uncertainty in his eyes, which isn't typical for a weak fighter. The fight between Mundane Man and Anaros starts. Anaros immediately closes the distance and starts attacking, but Mundane parries or dodges her attacks. She sees a chance to defeat him and slashes him, but
I love how he's using like the most uncoordinated body movements of all time.
Mundane appears behind her and tells her that was just an after image. Mundane then quickly overpowers her, and Anaros realizes that her only choice is to try and counterattack when he attacks. She waits for him to attack and attempts to counterattack, but Mundane dodges, which makes her realize he was still matching his attack to her and not
what a goober.
the opposite. Mundane then slashes and defeats Anaros.
He didn't slash. Hold on, dude. He is so
matching
confident.
his attack to her and not the opposite. Mundane then slashes and
he doesn't slash. He just whacks her with the hard side of the flat side of his
defeats
blade.
Anaros. Perv states that
Like in the easiest fight of all time, this man just goes out there railing women for a living. That sounded wrong.
Iris was right. Iris is surprised that someone as strong as Mundane was unnoticed for that long. Perv states the next round would be Iris
does this guy not just look like he oozes bad guy energy? Like, holy crap.
versus Mundane.
His name is Perv Asshat, by the way.
Wonders if she is confident that she can beat him. Iris states she can't match his beauty of swordplay, but it's not beauty that determines the winner. If this is all Mundane can do, then he won't be a match for her. However, there's a good chance that he is hiding something, which is why he disguised his stance and technique through the tournament. After leaving, Per tells his man to investigate Mundane, noting it could be a problem if he is backed by the Lawless City. His man wonders if he is
The
part
Lawless City. Epic foreshadowing for the beginning of season 2.
of Garden, but Perv
Which we
dismisses
will be watching together, goddarn, if you get 10,000 likes here.
because he is a man and also doubts that Shadow Garden have a reason to make a scene at the Bushin Festival. Elsewhere, Anna Rose tells Mundane that she was completely
He hit her in the head with the flat side of his blade, and she walks out with no shirt and boob bandages. Ladies and gentlemen, the best show in the world. For those of you that denied it until now, all of your arguments are irrelevant because this show has once again proven its worth to you. This is why this is the greatest show of all time.
defeated and explains that she left her country to become stronger and thanks him for the lesson. She wonders how he became that strong, and Mundane states he abandoned everything in pursuit of strength. Cid had accomplished 70% of his plan at the Bushin Festival. He then wonders on how to finish it, and after defeating Iris to just disappear, stating his work is done.
Right? Yes, this is all for the flex. You realize this entire fight, this whole festival, this whole facade, it's purely for the flex of it all.
He wonders if he should get the evil route and act like an assassin from a shadowy organization. He returns home but finds Claire waiting for him again and wondering if he had fun watching her match. Cid then guesses he is dead. Iris is practicing and recalls
He guesses he's dead because he didn't see her match, yes. God, I love siblings.
From being a young
that sounded so... Why do I keep putting my foot in my mouth like this?
Kid who won her fight battle to who is she now. She is determined to get results and prove that she has power to stand up against the divine teachings. Cid starts to like the VIP seating as the maids get him anything he wants free of charge. Iris sits next to him, guessing he is there to cheer for his sister. She notes that he
yeah, for his sister, totally.
drinking coffee and states she likes the smell, but doesn't like bitter flavor. Cid explains that if you put tons of milk and sugar, every kind of coffee will taste the same.
Man is so based. Holy shit, he's so right!
Iris decides to try it and finds it the milk coffee delicious. Moments later,
Oh my god! This man just unleashing his wisdom upon women wherever he goes. He just sees a woman and he's like, I will now shatter your mind with my wisdom.
Iris hears the guards stopping a woman with a sword and wants she to give it to them. Iris then sees Beatrix and explains she invited her. Realizing who Beatrix is, everyone get excited and gather around her. Beatrix uses the chance and asks them if they have seen her niece, but no one has seen her. They also ask her if some competitor caught her eye, and Beatrix states it's Cid. People are surprised as Cid isn't really that good and his sister is
Bro, Beatrix is so cool. Did any competitor catch your eye? And he says, Cid, you know, a character that's not even competing. She saw right through the facade and it's like, oh god, she's actually strong. They don't call her the sword goddess for nothing.
better, and some start to question if Beatrix is really that good. Pervashat drugs King Oriana again, but is annoyed how the drug makes his odor sweet and tells his men to cover it with a perfume.
Oh, yes, I'm drugging this king, but it's so annoying how sweet his odor is right now. God, can someone please mask the sweetness of his odor? Ugh.
Sure that Rose will come to save her father, and notes that since she showed signs of possession, she will also become prime material for the cult's experimentation. If Rose doesn't show up, Herb intends to use King Oriana to kill King Midgar. That will result in a war between the kingdoms and the destruction of Oriana Kingdom, and Perv will lose his status, but he doesn't really care. Perv plans to make the new king of Midgar his puppet and guesses the best time to move is during Iris' match. However, he is worried about Mundane Man as he couldn't find anything.
Mundane Man, what an interesting character. A trump card. Someone we didn't foresee or plan against, and with a name that cool. I just can't get over that they call him Mundane Man.
About him and worries that he could be quite dangerous. Perv is also worried what Shadow Garden may do and that they may be working with Rose. He goes into the VIP seating, and as he passes by Beatrix, she states that he and the king stink. Perv gets angry and orders to take
What are you talking about? Our odor was perfectly masked. Ugh.
her you. Iris stops him and explains she is her guest and it's Beatrix, the war goddess. Perv then realizes who she is and that she may have
War goddess, not the sword goddess. My bad.
awakened the hero's blood. Beatrix apologizes and Perv does the same. He takes his seat and starts to worry about Beatrix.
God, there's another strong person here. It's so annoying and cringe. Ugh.
He need to eliminate her as well. He also wonders if he will be able to assassinate the king of Midgar, but states it will all go normal if Rose shows up. Claire wins her fight and the Iris heads out for a match against Mundane Man. As their fight start, Iris feels that she loses her head and jumps back.
Whoa, they said that way too fast. That scene was insane. Okay, so the fight's
Heads out
about
for
to
a match
start,
against
okay? And before it even starts,
Mundane Man. As their fight start,
the fight didn't start yet. They didn't draw their swords yet, okay?
Iris feels that she loses her head.
She's like, whoa, I just felt like my head could have been cut off at this very moment, and I couldn't have blocked it.
Jumps backwards in fear. She is surprised at what she did and gathers herself and stands up. In that moment, she feels she is losing her leg and realizes that the entire
And she knows that, wait a second, in this range, my leg could easily be cut off. The entire arena is within his range of an instant attack that cannot be blocked. He is so strong. Shadow is so... Mundane Man is so powerful that she knows she has no chance against him just by how capable.
Entire arena is in Mundane's striking range. Meanwhile, Rose gets close to the VIP seating, but sees dead cult members. Beta and other Shadow Garden appear behind her and tells her that she can proceed and fulfill her mission. Iris keeps feeling that she is losing limbs from Mundane's attacks. She realizes
Mundane hasn't moved.
That dude is looking at
No
his
one
eyes
moved.
each time he slightly shifts.
He's just slightly shifting his pose, and she feels like she's losing the fight because of how overbearing this man is. Literal chef's kiss fight.
His gravity center, which means it's done by his strength and not by an artifact. The crowd start to get disappointed at Iris as she keeps backing up and feel that she is scared. Iris gets angry and attacks. Mundane then pushes her sword away and grabs her by the throat and takes her down. Placing his sword at her neck, he wonders what is wrong as they are just starting. Perv can't believe that...
Bro, how insane is that? This is the strongest fighter in the country, by the way.
Iris lost without being able to make a single move. Seeing Mundane, Beatrix states she wants to fight him. Rose then shows up and apologizes to her father, stating she made mistakes and will likely make one more, but she decided to follow the path she believed in. King Oriana
fight
then...
in the path you believe in. Follow the path you believe in. Follow the path you believe in. He just Itachi'd her without a Sharingan. True.
Forgives all of her sin. Perv is surprised as he didn't instruct him of saying that. Rose cries and jumps at Perv, who then uses the king as a shield. However, Rose proceeds and stabs him. In his last moments, the king tells Rose that he loves her. Perv is shocked at how easily she killed her father and gets angry. He then sees Rose holding her blade against her neck and orders his men to stop her.
Right, because she was going to kill herself. She's going to kill her father who's being mind controlled so that he can't be used as a puppet anymore, and then kill herself. Which is such a powerful act. Like... Dude, this is actual fantastic writing. There is no female character in shonen, pretty much, that gets writing this good. There's no Naruto character, no One Piece female character that gets writing this to this level of quality, except for maybe like Robin. But like, this is insane. It's insane the way and development that all these characters get, and they're kind of irrelevant just before the might that is Shadow. I think the reason why Shadow is such an impactful character in this story is because the story in itself is a well-written story with great characters, great animation, great fight scenes, great world building, like interesting societies and ecosystems, and despite the fact that they made a good, respectable story, Shadow is just going to come and take a steaming dump all over it with his unseriousness.
Mundane then comes from the window, asking if that's the choice Rose made, while cutting down Perv's men. Mundane then states it's time to reveal himself and turns to Shadow. Rose calls him Stylish Bandit Slayer. Seeing him fight, she was reminded of her past.
Oh my god, you're just like the guy that saved me when I was a kid.
I was the guy that saved you when I was a kid.
When Cid had saved her from some
of course! I was like, dude, we didn't actually have a tied-up woman in this arc. What is going on? Eminence and Shadow losing their touch. They didn't have a single tied-up woman. Ladies and fucking gentlemen, our tied-up woman of the arc has appeared! Let's go! Love this show.
Since that day when she saw his fencing, she decided to become Fencer herself. When Cid had killed all the bandits who kidnapped Rose, she asked him who he was. As Cid was still training back then, he is just a stylish bandit slayer. Rose is surprised to learn that Shadow was stylish bandit slayer, and even at that young age, he wasn't afraid and fought against evil. Shadow tells her that her fight isn't over. Rose then stands up and leaves. Perv wants to stop her, but all of his men are already defeated by other Shadow Garden members.
Very cute.
Beatrix then...
Your whole organization, you plan to start an entire civil war, you fucking loser. Your entire army has just been wiped out, by the way, BT dubs.
States she will do it and jumps at Shadow. As they clash swords, Perv uses the chance to escape. Shadow is fighting Beatrix, however.
This fight's so good! This is the best fight in the anime, by the way, for those of you that are unaware. This is the best fight in the anime.
However, he starts getting behind her with ease, while she barely manages to...
I love that because normally, like, when the character's so fast, they, like, it looks like they teleport. The anime always does, like, a pew, pew, like a sound effect to make them teleport, like instant transmission sound effect.
Shadow is fighting
Here
Beatrix,
they don't do
however.
that.
He starts getting behind her with...
It just gone.
Easy, while she...
Right? Like, boop. Instantly gone.
Barely manages to notice him in time and block his attacks. Iris shows up and states she wants to join the fight. She draws a blade and Shadow realizes it's a mithril blade with ancient runes, surprising him that she intends to use an artifact. Iris gets annoyed and turns the blade into a large fire sword and swings at Shadow. Shadow easily dodges and states that it has good visuals and is more fit for a festival spectacular.
Good visuals. That makes our fight a lot more awesome.
Beatrix
Sure.
then attacks him and Shadow continues her fight with her, with Iris joining Beatrix to fight Shadow. Shadow then takes 2 crowbars and blocks both Iris and Beatrix attacks.
Did you see what just happened? If you've been here at the very beginning, he's using crowbars as his weapons. He went back to using the crowbars. We go back full circle to the very first fight. The incredible flex of the crowbars.
Noting that crowbars indeed have potential. As they keep on fighting, they end on top of a train, where Shadow tells them to be careful to not fall. Meanwhile, Rose had escaped the stadium and wonders on what to do next. Alpha shows up and tells her that she has 2 choices to continue fighting alone or to fight alongside Shadow Garden. Rose
Yeah,
asks
are those 2 choices really 2 choices? Are they really 2 choices?
Alpha if they intend to save Oriana Kingdom, but Alpha explains won't be doing anything assist her as she is right now, and if she wishes to save her kingdom, she must show her worth. Thinking for a moment, Rose decides to join Shadow Garden. While they fight, Beatrix wonders if she and Shadow have met before. Shadow states he remembers powerful opponents, but wonders if they are strong enough for him to remember them. He jumps into the river and using magic he can—
Dude, what a flex. Oh, you guys are pretty good. I don't know if you're good enough for me to remember, per se, but you guys are good. You're not bad. I don't know if I'll remember you, because you're not, like, that good, but yeah, you're, like, fine.
Controls the water and shoots at it, but notices that magic doesn't flow that good in ordinary water. He kicks Iris into the river, but as Beatrix attacks him, she manages to break his crowbar. As they keep fighting, they reach a tower, where Shadow gets behind Beatrix, but she blocks it easily, noting that she got used to his attack. Shadow congratulates her, stating that in sword skill, they are almost equal. However,
We're almost equal in sword skill. Unfortunately, I'm better at everything else.
use of magic isn't as good. Iris then comes attacking, but Shadow blocks her attack with his fist, stating that he can't be defeated with borrowed power. Iris—
I love how it's that same line. Despite the fact that Shadow is just such an annoying, petty man doing this for the flex and for the badassness, he has, like, his own morals and his own integrity, and he sits by it. Like, he does not believe in borrowed power. What a legend.
Iris tells Beatrix that she will immobilize him even if it costs her her life, and then Beatrix can take him down. Iris attacks Shadow. As she swings her sword, she lets it
Dude, also the animation in this scene, fucking great.
go and attempts to grab Shadow. However, Shadow kicks her in the chin with his knee. Beatrix finishes charging her attack and attacks in that moment. She knocks Shadow's sword, but he dodges her attack and then grabs and slams her over Iris.
Dude, that scene is insane. Oh my god,
She
wait,
knocks Shadow's
look at this.
sword, but he dodges her
He dodges.
attack and
He
then
instantly
grabs
dodges.
and slams her over
Picks her up. Look at him just standing there, like, all calmly holding this lady and
Iris,
whacks, throws her on the other girl. Dog. He just picks her up and yeets her on top of the other one.
both of them.
And just steps on both of them. Step on me, Daddy Shadow, please, please, god damn it.
Attempts to leave, but the girls manage to stand up, and Iris tells him that
Oh my god, he throws one on top of the other and then steps on both of them. What a fucking monster this
by
guy.
now every knight in the city should have been mobilized. He has turned the whole kingdom into his enemy, and there isn't a place he can run to.
Isn't a place I can run to? And now he feels disrespect. Shadow's
girls are left stunned. Shadow starts casting his eye and atomic attack, but stops before the enemy leaves. Seeing that,
Right?
Iris—
And basically what he did, he feints the atomic to say, you see this range of this circle covering the entire city? My atomic attack right now can wipe out this entire city in one shot. You think I need to run away? And then he runs away, just to show that, yeah, I could do that, but no, I'm too badass to deal with you guys right now. What a flex.
drops on her knees and cries. Sherry read on the
I
newspaper
would
that
too.
the demon Shadow was chased away by Iris and Beatrix. Rose is still missing after she killed her father. Beatrix leaves the city, disappointed she couldn't find the one she was looking for. She tells Iris to not take her defeat too serious, as there are many things mortals can't defeat. As Midgar Kingdom is looking for Shadow,
Many
Beta
things mortals can't defeat. He thinks it's like some sort of demon. No, it's just some dude.
says that was Shadow's plan to keep them occupied with himself and not get involved with the things happening in Oriana Kingdom. Since Shadow is actively involving himself, they decide to hurry up and tie up the loose ends and send more personnel to investigate the lawless city and keep a close eye on the major corporate
What
alliance.
could be
With the new
going
school
on in this lawless city?
term having started, Cid wonders where his Skell. Poe explains he took a long-term job. Poe regrets that he was outside the city when the demon Shadow appeared.
Bro! Look how insane this is, and this could all become a nuke.
Shadow covered the capital in magic, which must have frightened a lot of girls who would then have needed reassurance.
Oh my god, this fucking guy.
Rose and Alpha reach the Kagenou domain. Alpha then explains they are heading past the mountain and deeper into the woods. Rose is surprised as magical beasts infest the region. Alpha explains that when Shadow visited the mountains, he battled the Mist Dragon. The dragon lost and dubbed Shadow ruler of this realm and bathed him in dragon's breath. When they
Just random Shadow flex lore on the side. Oh yeah, Shadow was here. There was this epic dragon that everyone feared, and Shadow beat him. And then the dragon dubbed him as the new leader, so whatever, it's all good. Just casually propping Shadow up a little bit higher.
Reach their destination in the forest. Alpha explains that this is the ancient city Alexandria.
Yes, sir. This entire city, encased in mist by this epic dragon that no one wants to mess with. This city is HQ. This is Shadow Garden HQ. A city in the middle of a forest that no one wants to enter because of a legendary dragon that was actually beaten by Shadow. How cool is that? Then you think of, oh yeah, the Akatsuki, they're so awesome because they have like this little cave shit everywhere, every once in a while. There's a little cave. Yeah.
Operation. Alpha takes Rose to Lambda and explains that Rose is a new recruit and tells Lambda to train her.
666th harem member.
Lambda calls 664 and 665 and tells them that she's putting the new recruit in their squad, naming Rose as number 666. Lambda then cuts Rose's clothes, telling her that she is now nobody.
You do not need any bodily possessions. You do not need clothes from the past or pictures from a past life. Nothing. You are now no one. You are a member of Shadow Garden. You will, and that is all.
Is casting away her name, clothes, and everything to become a pure,
Also, it's a great excuse to just get her naked, I guess, because why not?
unadulterated soldier. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe.
Bro, this was awesome. Sorry, it was awesome. It was great. That was season 1 of Eminence in Shadow. A fantastic show full of really great characters, story beats, and basic society and world building. And ladies and gentlemen, season 2 is happening right now. I already watched the first episode of season 2, and I'm willing to watch more if you leave likes and subscribes and things. But no one's making it to the end of the video, so that's fine. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you did enjoy as much as I did, because I enjoyed a lot. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam!